have Ms. Peyton Benze, she is the Communications Officer. We have Bevan, I'm not sure of his surname, but he's part of our Sound and Vision team. We have Prudence Pluter, that's also part of the Sound and Vision team. And we have Sina Buyo, that's part of our Sound and Vision team. Thank you, Chairperson. Chairperson, there was actually an apology from Deputy Minister Kariming that won't be able to make the meeting as she attending a cabinet to Lakotla. Yes, and then there was from the DDG in Paul Mukhali who couldn't make it to the meeting as he is with the minister in other provinces. Thank you, Chairperson.
Okay, at least we know each other now. The time is 14:40. Depending on how you have arranged your presentation, Honorable Mayor, and whoever you want to delegate, I'm handing over to you now to present whatever issues that come out of that meeting that we had.
Meneer die voorzitter, ja, baie dankie. Ik wil noem op die skrywe het u gesê ons moet antwoord binne 14 dae. Maar u het nooit vir ons die skrywes gegee om te antwoord nie. Maar ons het opgedeel dat die administrasie gaan die vrae antwoord wat u hulle gevra het en ek gee oor aan meneer Barnard.
Thank you, Chair. The mayor is saying that it was said that they must respond within 14 days in their response last time, of which also the thing that they didn't receive, or whether it's communication that was supposed to be shared amongst the fears of government. He will, from their side, they've decided that the administrators will then be the ones who is going to deal with the presentation. Thank you very much. Then he's going to hand over to the acting MM.
Chairperson, I've just got one challenge. I didn't bring my laptop along because I thought there's going to be a laptop here. But if I can still go on with the slides if need be, and then I can just give it to you. But it would be best if I put it up there that you can see what we're talking about. So I'm just having a little bit of a challenge there. Maybe just one thing, Chairperson, I need to also bring to your attention. We have stage 5 load shedding, which started 4. Just for you to keep in mind that one. Sorry, Chairman.
Kuba ingakumbi xa usilumkisa uba ngo-4 kuzabe sekufika i-load shedding. Benzawuthi qhuba usinike liphepha uyisote out le uyitshoyo ezawuxhoma.
I'm lost, Chairperson. I'm lost.
That no, I'm not doing it deliberately because you're not doing here. Me, I explained it there. Somebody demanded, I was in Cape Town, that I must choose between, I must speak half Xhosa, half English. So I was trying to smuggle my half now. So I'm saying continue, even if you give us a copy, so that we don't wait because of that time you indicated as load shedding. Thank you.
Okay. The first slide that you see there is just a voorblad. I'm going to try to speak English as far as possible, Chairperson, but I just need to keep in mind that I want to speak my mother tongue as far as possible. Tongue in the cheek. I see the EFF is also here, and they refuse Afrikaans, so by the way. Chairperson, let me just go on with the slides. The index that we will cover is the overview. That is what we got from the letter that we received in the absence of the questions that has been sent to us. The second point will be the political instability. Then we will touch on the unlawful appointments. And then I will give to the CFO to deal with the cost containment measures. And then we'll talk about the youth development reality strategies. And then the illegal dumping and the water treatment works and sanitation and then generators. We believe that has been in the letter that we need to respond on, and that's why it's on that index thing. Just a quick overview. We have 7 councillors. Of the 7 councillors, there's 3 from ICOSA, 2 from the ANC, 1 from CUP, Kannaland Independent Party, and 1 from the DA. Our towns is divided into Ladismith, Calitzdorp. Ladismith is where we are currently. Calitzdorp is where you came through in Zouar, and Van Wyksdorp is on the way to Cape Town. If you take the off-road, you'll have to drive another 33 kilometers to get to Van Wyksdorp. We are established with the executive mayoral system and executive mayor and the ward committee system. That's what we have been established for in 2000. So we are a grade 2 municipality. The political instability, Chairperson, this has been a much debated issue. What we have, unless I've got a different one here. Unless I've got a different one, this is not the same slide that I have, but it's fine. I spoke on the first one. The 2021 local government election, there was I'm going to use the slide now there because it's a little bit different than what I gave you, Chairperson. After the 2021 local government election, we had a post-election coalition between the ICOSA and the ANC. And then in January, that coalition was changed to the ANC, DA and CUP. And then the 21st of October, the coalition again was changed, and this time between ICOSA and CUP. The accountable and responsible leadership prioritized the appointment of the MM, the CFO, and Director Corporate Technical Services. Maybe just for information's sake, the MM and the CFO, the advertisement has Sunday closed. So we're now in the process of council need to take a short list, and out of the short list go for a permanent CFO and MM, and that will hopefully stabilize the administration part. And I need to say at this point in time, we have a little bit of a stability at the moment within the council, but it's just still early days. That is just on the governance. The governance slide is just to do with the different committees that is in place. The council is obvious. We've got an impact committee. It has changed. The chairpersonship has recently changed. It's now Councillor Reuters is the chairperson of MPEC, and he's the one that is not here chairperson. And the other 2 members of the committee is Councillor Steenkamp and Councillor Stierman. Our audit committee has also been established. We still need to get them together for a training session. The one is from somewhere there in Joburg, so we need to make a little bit of organizing to get him here. Then our labor forum is functional. A disciplinary board has been established, and recently our cash flow committee has also been established. That one is just dealing with the political instability, but it has more to do with what happened when. The first intervention from the province side was in 2016, and in 2017 there was a financial recovery plan that was finalized and implemented by the municipality. And in 2018, I don't know what is the audit opinions for the 2 years, but 2018 it was an unqualified opinion. 17 as well, unqualified opinion. 2019 also was a qualified opinion. 2020 it was a qualified opinion, and the current one that we received was a disclaimer. What we're trying to show with that slide, there's no correlation between the different coalitions and the audit opinions. So you will see that there was a regression of the audit opinion over time. If I will ask the CFO if you have questions on that one, that later that you will respond on it. The unlawful appointments, and I think this has been the one that we have been confronted with on the meeting of the 21st of November. Was it 21st, 23rd? 21st. The meeting of 21st of November. Chairperson, let me say, because in the letter that we've received on the 23rd of January, there has been a question that has been asked about, and let me just read it. The committee further resolved that the municipality and the province must furnish the committee with a report on the outcome of the senior legal advice on the appointment of Mr. Jordan, and that the committee should undertake an oversight to the municipality, which is today. We are not going to speak on behalf of the MEC for local government, but we haven't received that legal opinion. That is just from our side. Council has asked us to also get a legal opinion, which is still at this point in time outstanding. Appointments in dispute, and this has to do with there's a tendency in the media that says that the appointment is unlawful. Now, from where we are standing in terms of the unlawful appointments, specifically in senior management, the MEC has 14 days to respond to council and say to them, listen, you've made an unlawful appointment, and then we can take it from there. But from where we are standing, the appointments that we've made is not unlawful. So I'm just putting it out there. The municipality will explore all avenues, including seeking legal advice after formal communication from the relevant authoritative structure to inform decision-making by council. And we are also working here with the Protection of Personal Information Act. We received a lot of media reports to ask us to divulge personal information, but I know the committee is also aware of it. There's an in-depth analysis on the salary budget, and we are looking specifically at that one. And if it find that there's appointments that has been illegally, we will deal with it accordingly. But there is an investigation pending on that one. So we are busy. I think we will most probably have it finalized by the end of this week. And we are in the process also of reviewing the organizational structure. Cost containment, can I ask the CFO to touch on the financial slides?
Afternoon again, everybody. So in terms of cost containment and the measures that we have put in place in the municipality, first of all, We have been operating with an unfunded budget for a considerable amount of years. So we busy working with Provincial Treasury on the funding plan, making sure that we obviously look at revenue enhancements, managing our revenue best we can. Chairperson, currently we're sitting on a 79, about 80% collection rate. And in our impoverished community, we have our sights on moving close to 85, but I think that's pretty much being optimistic to a large extent. Improving obviously our accuracy in terms of billing, which we have done a number of exercises over the last couple of years to make sure that our billing system is indeed accurate and updated with correct information. Very important to note here is the impact that contract management has on the municipality. And we're looking at conditional and unconditional grants as an example. Our ability to actually spend on what we have been entrusted to either national or provincial government is very important, because it gives confidence in, or detract the confidence in our ability to manage it in the municipal sphere. And that's exactly one of the key points that we want to tighten up. Obviously looking at other departments and improving revenue outside of service delivery, our basic service delivery components. Cost containment is obviously, you look at two elements in terms of funding, trying to increase revenue and decrease expenses. From where we sit, it is vitally important, and the municipal manager, acting municipal manager, alluded to the fact that we are busy reviewing our employee structure, and obviously looking at what measures can be taken to assess and reduce our biggest cost driver in our budget, which is our employee-related cost. And again, grant management plays a role here, contract management plays a role here. Our staff expenditure is focal to our attempt to contain cost. In terms of another key focus is looking at our audit action plan. A lot of the audit findings, if we can address them within the next financial year, we would effectively also address elements of cost containment, elements of revenue enhancement to an extent, because the mere presence of controls will be sufficient to help streamline waste within the system or within the processes. In my view, our financial system at this point in time has a number of shortcomings, and that is one of the things that senior management is currently exploring to make sure that it does not add to our audit opinion. And right now, I can confidently say the underutilization of the system, or the constraints within the system, definitely had an impact on our recent disclaimer of opinion. Very important, stability is needed for continuity to be there, for progress to be there. Stability is key, and Kannaland has been handicapped to a large extent with instability, being it on different levels. But that is one of the things that the administration is actually very focused on, to ensure that we bring back the productiveness of being in the office space in an 8-hour workday. Continuing on cost containment, we did speak to the cash flow position. The cash flow committee has been established. It is my position that we would meet initially on a weekly basis to see what is our actual cash position. I mean, if we don't have any grant funding coming in, what is our bank account looking like every single month, and doing first of all a retrospective look at it back to July 2020, and then obviously project prospectively into where we want to be. In the last couple of years, it is evident that our payables has indeed increased, and if you just take the incremental increase on our Eskom account, it basically explains our total payables, and that number includes the Eskom account. Our audit opinions in the last couple of years has been highlighted by the acting MM, and it is rather unfortunate that the last one ended up in a disclaimer. But from an administrative point of view, we will work with our service provider that has drafted our financial statements, and we will also work with the Auditor General to see to what extent we can actually look at improving on this. My role as the acting finance manager is to look at the wrongs of the past and what we can do to correct it in the financial year. We're already 7 months into the financial year, so that the history don't repeat itself in terms of our audit findings, and that is where we want to look at putting the controls needed in terms of good governance, but also accountable measures to the public funds. I thank you.
Yeah, I think I'm going to have a different approach, Chairperson, if you allow me. On the local government, local economic development and youth development, there was something that was asked there. We need to be honest in saying we're currently working on it, it's in process. We haven't put something through council that is official, that I can say this is our policy, this is our plan. But the things that is written on there, the youth development policy as well as the business development initiative scheme that we have been talking about, it just needs to be formalized into a plan and put in front of council. And the matric assistance program is an ongoing thing that we normally do every year. The illegal dumping, you visited the Ladismith landfill site, I believe, just before the meeting. That is currently the only landfill site that is being used. Domestic waste are transported from Calitzdorp, Zoar, as well as from Wyksdorp, specifically to Zoar. Calitzdorp, the waste that is being dumped there is green waste and building rubble. But Ladismith is the only wasteful site that we can bring domestic waste to and that we have a license for. The municipality is in the process of compiling bylaws for more and or enforcement of illegal dumping. Maybe, Chairperson, on this one, we are not only looking at the illegal dumping bylaw, but we have quite a comprehensive lot of, I must speak Afrikaans now. Ons het 'n hele paar bylaws wat spesifiek te doen het met klagtes wat ons gekry het in die gemeenskap en sekere goed ten opsigte van hoe om enforcement toe te pas. So that is not only, when I'm talking about bylaws, we're not only dealing with illegal dumping, we're dealing with a lot of other bylaws as well. Okay, I've already said that one of garden refuse. And we are in the process of applying for a garbage compactor truck through AMIC funding. Maybe just on that one, it has been approved that, what you call it, just yellow fleet. We have approval, and within the next financial year, we will definitely buy the garbage compactor truck. That will help us in a lot of ways. Chairperson, I'm going to ask somebody else to talk on the status of water, because I want you to, when people ask questions, that they must ask the relevant people. If you don't mind, that's why I was asking just for your indulgence on this one, if I can.
Good afternoon again, Chairperson. Yes, so in terms of the water supply systems, we have 4 water supply systems. It's one in each town. So there's one water treatment works in every town. Looking at Ladismith, we have a problem with filtration, but that's occasionally, usually during your summer and spring seasons. Then you get water with high sediment. So So we do get water through the bowls, and then you get extraction from the river that goes into the one dam, the Ladismith Dam, and from there we extract water to the waterworks. So that's usually one of the problems during summer. Then within the distribution network, we have our infrastructure that's a little bit aging, creating network problems like pressure leaks. At places we still have some of these asbestos pipes, and that contribute to our water losses in some of the valves that we have, valve problems that we have. But what's important is we do need to look at that we do need additional treated water storage. Currently within Ladismith we have the 2 cheese factories as well as the winery. In discussions with some of the factories, they are looking at expanding their business, which means that they will look at more treated water. So our design capacity of our plant in Ladismith versus the daily demand currently, it seems that the daily demand exceeds the design capacity. And then, because we use water from the Ladismith Dam during spring and summer, also from the bowls, but mostly from the Ladismith Dam, and that dam can only hold 60% of its capacity. So, can you just go one back? Yes. So we do need in Ladismith additional raw water storage capacity. Forward, Rudy. Ladismith, Kannaland is the other water supply system that has problems with your sediment in the water, but also again, it's only seasonal, usually during November or December when you get some type of flooding. But that's for short periods, usually 3 to 5 days that we have that problem, because the plant can't actually, keep up with the capacity to filter it within that time. Then we have a pump station. We actually have a pump station in Fort Hare Estate. Now, from that pump station, we pump the treated water to the distribution reservoirs within the town, Bersig and your Kannaland areas. But the rural area in Kannaland, which is the Gamka area, is also being fed from that pump station, directly from the pump station, which means in summer times that actually creates a problem that the demand exceeds the capacity of the pumps in Fort Hare Estate. Then, I've said the one of the Gamka area. Then in Zawar, we did get funding from DLG for the upgrading of a package plant that we have, but we do have some problems with the package plants in terms of capacity, providing enough potable water during your high demand spring, but especially your summer season. So we're working on that problem there. Part of that problem is actually created by your Kannaland and Protea Park. So that's 2 areas that actually take water directly from the line that feeds water to the 2 reservoirs within the town area. So what we're looking at is to install an additional pipe, which will actually help with that. But looking at Zawa, you need a holistic approach in terms of upgrading the plant, installing some pipe to transport the water. And then we have another pump, so the Lemoenkloof, let me say this, we get our water from Tierkloof. That dam is the dam from DWS. So between the raw water dam and the water treatment works, you get the pump station, the Lemoenkloof pump station. Now, I said earlier, you need a holistic approach. If you want to look at all the problems in Zawar, you need to look at the pump capacity at Lemoenkloof, upgrade the waterworks at the plant, and then take Protea Park and Kannaland off the direct offtake for additional pipe, and then we can have that problem sorted. But if you do that, then it means you'll have a problem with raw water, because the dam in Zawar only stores 45,000 cubic meters of water. At the current rate of roughly 1.5 megaliters a day, it means you'll only have water for 30 days if there's no inflow into the dam. Van Wyksdorp currently, limited problems because of the expansion of Van Wyksdorp, although they do have problems. So they also have a problem with treated water, the capacity that's limited. So there are 3 reservoirs within the town area, and that is fed from one reservoir, and that reservoir can't feed all of the reservoirs as the demand increases within your spring and summertime. Then, in terms of the sanitation and the water usually goes hand in hand, but again, this is just a summary of all the problems or the high-level problems within Kannaland. So we do have an aging network in terms of Ladismith in Calitzdorp in terms of the sanitation. Then in Calitzdorp, biggest part of Calitzdorp, there's some parts in Van Wyksdorp, smaller part in Zawar. There's residents that make use of the conservancy tanks. That's why we need a honeysucker, but we have 2 of those, but due to age, it's past their useful life. There's a high repair cost. That actually results at times in downtimes. There's an increase on people, looking for a honeysucker for that service. And then in terms of capacity of the Ladismith and Zawar wastewater works, so currently those capacity is exceeded, as well as the Calitzdorp wastewater works. Van Wyksdorp currently make use of a package plant, so that plant is currently in process of being upgraded within this financial year, as well as the Zawar water treatment works. So those 2 plants is in process of upgrading. And in terms of the water, it's the Van Wyksdorp plant that's in process of being upgraded this year. Generators, so that was part of the request for information on generators. So currently the municipality has 6 generators spread over the Kannaland area. We need an additional 7 on the water services, so there's 6. What we've done is in December, we've procured 3 additional generators to help with the supply to the town areas, bringing it to 6. We still need 7 to have generators at all the critical infrastructure providing potable water to the residents. Wastewater, we don't have any generators currently. So we need 6 generators for the sanitation services. So in Van Wyksdorp, currently at the package plant, we need 1. Ladismith at the wastewater treatment works, we need 1. In Zawar, there's an additional pump station, so there's 1 for the pump station and 1 for the wastewater treatment works. And there's 2 additional ones for the Calitzdorp area. Just to clarify this, in Calitzdorp is divided by the river. So your western part of Calitzdorp is the network for your wastewater treatment works, while your eastern side is more of the conservancy tanks. Then we have some other challenges, but it all comes back to what we said earlier. So, which will help us, at the end is if we look at bulk infrastructure in terms of potable water. Previously, we did look at the planned Swartweg Dam that we were looking at. Then we do have a huge backlog of housing, which we're currently looking at. So and then we have, okay, I'm sure when you went to our town, you saw that some of the streets have a lot of potholes and so on in it. So that's only gravel roads, but if you look at our town area, or all the towns, currently we have tar roads in Ladismith and Calitzdorp, some paved street in Ladismith and Zawar, and then the rest of it is gravel roads. So most of those needs either some type of either upgrading or maintenance at the stage. But some part of the town areas, that has been maintained by the Provincial Department of Transport.
Thank you, Chairperson.
I was now beginning to say this man is taking over. He is presenting everything as if he is the mayor. I think, honorable members, that's the presentation which was trying to fill the gaps on the issues that you raised in the last visit. This is your turn now. If there are any questions or clarity, follow up. Honorable Kalip, you are number 1. Honorable Space, number 2. Honorable Simon, number 3. Honorable Direko, number 4. Let's take that order.
Thank you very much, Chair. Good afternoon again. I won't be long, Chair. I know that my colleagues will also cover me in other issues that I won't able to raise it. Firstly, Mayor, I want to say that I note that in your executive there's no woman. Even on the senior managers, there's only one decoration in the form of a woman, which is a cause for concern. Maybe we are going to get a clarity on that one. If you don't have capacity or well-capacitated woman in your municipality, or what is happening. The few questions that I have for you as the political leader of this municipality, although you have delegated your administration to lead some of the updates in terms of the committee, which is here to make a follow-up after you have been in the portfolio committee. I was listening to the acting MM on the issue of the municipal manager. This matter is twofold. The first one is that when the committee engaged you on the first MM that you appointed in terms of his misconduct, and then you said you didn't know about his previous shenanigans, where he come from. And then you appointed, or the council appointed the acting MM, of which in the process was found that he was investigated by Hawks. I hear what he is saying now. He is saying that you have advertised the position of MM and CFO, but that is not a point. A point is that after 2 MMs were exposed, and then what did you do? Because even here, he is saying in terms of the dispute of unlawful, potential unlawful can be declared only by court. I want to differ with that. We can address it through the law, but as a political head, you must take a political stance. If you love your municipality, you must be saying, as a person who is in charge on behalf of the people, you want to take a stance. So I wanted to ask a direct question. What have you done in terms of those 2 issues, in terms of the MM, in terms of the law? The 10 years were not lapsed, but he was already the MM, and the second one is faced with criminal charges of something like 3-something million and is under investigation of Hawks. Where are we in terms of that? Because we are the first citizen of this municipality, that you must respect your citizens and you must protect your residents in terms of guiding against this municipality to be vulnerable. That is my first question that I need a clarity on. And then the other matter that the committee raised it when you were in the portfolio committee last year was the issue of executive manager of infrastructure support service in terms of the qualification. I think he was responding on that one when he was saying that is the only court that can declare unlawful appointments. So I have stated my position and my thinking that no, it can't be that we can go and take people in terms of nepotism and what. Let us be clear to say that our role here as politicians is to protect our municipalities. Let us have qualified people, because at the end of the day, we want our people to get services. The reports, I want to get the report in terms of the AG, who have a flagship of MPEC on effective SCM systems. I want to understand how far with that matter as well. I think it's all the issues that I'm raising, they're likely to be responded by you in the same way. The issue of water treatment, and I think that you can also cover that because it also have a direct impact in the citizens of this municipality. How far with that process in order for you as a municipality you can be able to provide water, which seems as if is a very major problem in this municipality. And when the young gentleman was presenting on the cost containment measures, I just want to ask Mayor, what is your total budget? Because on the presentation, you are just telling us about the total creditors. As of 30th January, 69 million. And then ESCOM, I think you are owing 33 million as we speak, but I'm subjected to be corrected. I don't know, this is my reading. So at the bank account, you are telling us that the cash in bank account is 852K. So please expand, because we are here just to understand how do you run your municipality. There's an issue of workers here. We don't want to find a situation whereby you can't even afford to pay bills to workers. So what is the total budget? And what is the clear plan to deal with the issue of ESCOM? Because this is not your only problem, but it's the problem that is faced with many municipalities around the country. If the figures here in front of me is correct to say the ESCOM, so far you are owing something like 33 million. So what is the clear plan how to turn things around? You are also saying that on your presentation, there are some litigations as a result of councillors' cost, which is unknown. What does that mean? Unknown litigation cost, if you can clarify on that one too. And then on the last one, Chair, is the issue of, I think it's on page 9 of your slides, when you talk about local economic development and youth development. If you can clarify as well, I'm not getting what you are trying to tell us here. I know that it's just in the form of a summary when you write a presentation, but it's for us as a committee members just to ask for clarity purposes. Youth development policy, we are saying that currently we are in the process of compiling and public participation. What are you trying to do? Are you formulating a policy or are you intervening? Because we know that one of the issues that you are faced as a country is unemployment, especially the youth. Are you trying to address that? But I'm not clear with what are you trying to do here. And also matric assistance program, currently in the process of compiling and public participation. Please unpack for us. The last one, Chair, EFF is not against Afrikaans. It can be. Afrikaans is one of the official languages in South Africa. So we love Afrikaans, we love all language in South Africa, including Afrikaans. What we don't want, our position is very clear, is the stem. You can change the stem and put the Afrikaans version, we'll be happy, because there is a political connotation of the stem, not Afrikaans. I don't want people to live here with that in mind, that you hate Afrikaans. We love Afrikaans. That's why when I was introducing myself, I did it in Afrikaans. It's one of our official language. Thank you much, Chairperson.
Thank you, Chairperson. Chairperson, I want to start with the following. When the introductions were done, a number of staff members were just saying, Kannaland municipality. To this end, we know it's the senior management. But further on, I lost track of who has what position. What I did pick up is that a municipality with an unfunded budget, a disclaimer audit opinion, who has no money to deliver services, has 3 staff members in the Speaker's office. I need to understand that for a municipality this small. And then I heard only 2 members is from the Mayor's office. I think there's obviously some more, That was the question I asked on the 23rd of November when we had the virtual meeting and I was ditched. And I need to ask that because it's important, because I can see that there is no correlation between the payroll of this municipality and how many people are actually in posts. And to me, that is a concern, a genuine concern, not a witch hunt. It's not politically aimed. It's a genuine concern. Your salary bill, the percentage in terms of the norm and what you are having is very concerning. Now, when the acting CFO talks about revenue enhancement, I want to hear real revenue enhancement because this is what this municipality needs. I'm going to dive in directly into something that you need. You apply for funding or you receive funding, but you don't use the funding. Can I make an example? You have received, and no one has really spoken about your problems with your sewage systems and that, and you have a huge problem. I just today did a press release on a particular sewage problem that you have at an old age home. You have received MIC funding for sewage, money for sewage matters, MIC funding to 6 million rand, which is not used. You have in Van Wyksdorp received 2.6 million that is still not used. Now, it's either I'm incorrect or my facts are not, and I'm here to be corrected if it's not the case. Then I want to know that when you say that in the Toerenkloof Dam, in the Sewewikspoort, when the dam is 100% full, there's only water for 30 days. I didn't hear the clear plan as to when that 30 days now expires and there's no water, what you do. In terms of generators, maybe the standing committee chairperson can deal with that on generators because I know that the province has just put money towards that, quite a lot of money. I'm going to go to the following. The issue of the acting MM. And my colleague, Honorable Nkalipi, has raised that in a way, but I want to reiterate. The information to us, and it's not that what we make up is the information, because before we come here, we actually do research and we prepare ourselves, and we go into this municipality's background. The information is that the current acting MM has been arrested in 2021 by the Hawks. He is currently under investigation. 2 counts of fraud, 2 counts of contravention of the MFMA. Do you think it's proper for the situation that you are in to appoint a person with such a cloud? Maybe he is not guilty, maybe he's innocent. But for the meantime, stop putting so much focus on you because that's the things you are in the media for all the time. It's almost like you deliberately make these appointments to be in the media. And it's not what Kannaland should be in the media for. You should be in the media for the right things. So I think you need to really tie up all these loose ends because there's always something popping up around who has been appointed, under which circumstances, or under which cloud. I do take it that someone is innocent until proven guilty. But what we have in front of us says we cannot just ignore what we see. I want to understand the acting CFO. What qualifications the acting CFO has, if he is duly qualified for the position that is held. If so, I'm great with that. I want to understand how far is your processes for the appointment of the MM and the CFO and all the other directors. You could not give us answers when we were on a site visit earlier on the sports field. And immediately what came to my mind is someone must be in charge of sports fields. There must be an official who gets paid every month to take care of such facilities, or a director or a manager of sports. Where is that person or an acting person that can actually give us the answers that we need? Because our aim with this visit is not to criticize you, it's to see what is the extent of your problems and how can all the spheres of government and other institutions that are here help you. Because we also don't want the people of Kannaland to suffer, and you don't want to be in the news always for the wrong things. So I need to understand that, and I think my colleague has asked for a report. When we requested you to give us answers within 14 days. We were serious about it because you took note of the questions we asked you, and so we expected you to answer us. Some of the questions that I asked you have still not been answered, and I have repeated it. I need to understand what is your salary bill, the percentage of your operating expenditure, what amount of that is used on salaries. I need to understand, and I think the committee needs to get this, a report on the qualifications of each staff member, temporary and permanent. What is their level of training and the salary scales that they are being paid at for the positions they hold? Is that all above board? And that report is very urgent, and through you, Chair, I would really like us to have that. Now, cost component, unfunded budget. So, I'm not going to go into that. All I'm saying is no person can work on an unfunded budget. You can't spend money that you don't have. It's simple finances. The financial fundies can tell you much more that it cannot happen. Bonuses or salaries paid out in November 2022 to people, beneficiaries that was not even working in your municipality anymore. How is that possible? How do you explain that to us? We need to understand it. And again, if all of this is just a media tendency and people just want to be on your case, you need to be able to prove us all wrong, and then maybe we can move forward. No youth development, no LED, that is just pathetic. Because people in this area, and I know this area well, young people sit on the streets. Drugs is a huge problem here. And you tell me there is no youth development program. You have a lot of NGOs in this town who does exceptional work. I've met with them most of them. And if you collaborate with them, you can actually formulate a fantastic youth development program. But you can also tap into what the province offers and what national offers. There are huge amounts of opportunities that is not used. And to come here to us and say, oh, we don't have it, it's just, what municipalities doesn't have a youth development, active operating youth development program? What municipality doesn't have a local economic development strategy? These are the things that is important because it will lift people out of poverty in this area, and it will create businesses, small and medium, maybe bigger. But you have it here, you just need to do that extra little bit. And we are not saying you must give them the funding, we know you can't. But put them in contact with the right people, arrange open days and network sessions for NYDA, NDA, all these government agencies, so that it is here for the people. You can then say you've done your part in bringing it closer to the people, but you cannot just shrug your shoulders and say, we don't have it. It is there, you need to take it. I'm going to, the last thing is, water is a huge problem. I didn't get what is your position in terms of water? What is it? But I want to know from you, in December, Calithdorp and areas, Hamka areas, they went without water for days. To an extent that I, on my own accord, had to contact the MEC to see if they can bring people in, and they sent engineers. What is the plan so that they are not ever going to be in that problem again? And there are people, private citizens that wants to help you, but you need to listen to them. You need to sit around the table and see how you can mitigate these problems, and you can find solutions to it. Lastly, in conclusion, Chair, the problem with the political leadership in this town is that they also always want to point fingers. Today when I came here, I didn't come here to fight with any of you, and I'm not wearing a political hat here. I'm here as the portfolio committee member with my chairperson and other members. I don't want to hear all these little things that's going on. Work with each other in order to deliver services to your people. Forget about your title, the color of your t-shirt, and work with people. Things will change. The chairperson told you. He's here with lots of parties from different backgrounds and alignments. He doesn't care where we work together in this committee. We fight our fights when we're in Parliament, but when we work, we try to work together to make things work. If you can do that, this animosity between you is not good for the people, and it's not going to help you.
Thank you very much. I'm sure I will have follow-up questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I'm going to start my questions by making a small introduction in this form to say that the reason why we're here is that Kannaland has been listed as one of the 64 municipalities that are dysfunctional in the country. And of course, there are reasons why is the Kannaland listed as dysfunctional municipality in the country. But also what is interesting is even the provincial government had listed it in their report, in their provincial treasury's report, as internally vulnerability, in their internal vulnerability criteria report. And I'm glad that the gentleman from the Treasury's office is also here. So it means there is a problem. But to take it a little bit further, is that when you do a research, you find that the municipality was placed under administration since on the 2nd of December 2016 up until on the 1st of October 2021. Now, looking at the issues that my colleagues have raised, I want to ask this question. It might be you, Mayor, that wants to answer this question or whoever, because I think the a significant number of questions that I wanted to ask has been asked by my colleagues, except the two that I'm going to ask after. Is that, don't you think that this exposes the municipality to be replaced under administration? Because honestly speaking, if you look at the issues that are raised in the municipality, surely the leadership should sit down and be able to ask themselves, where are we taking this municipality? And I'm saying this so that tomorrow this committee is not accused of crafting an agenda that is not there. So I'm saying to you, and I put it to you, that for me, this municipality is on its way back to administration. And I'm glad this intervention, according to the records that we have here, it was not done by national government, but it was done by provincial government, because they realized that the municipality was distressed, but also it was unviable in terms of their criteria that they had put in place. So don't you think that you are on your way back to administration? The second issue that I want to raise is that I want to request, and if it's possible, Chair, you will advise, that we be provided with the license of the landfill that we attended. Because for me, there is something that is not adding up on the sequence of how you have answered when we were asking in terms of that landfill. For me, something is not adding up. So I'm saying, out of curiosity, can you kindly furnish us with that particular landfill certificate? And then the last thing is around the MPEC. I did not get a sense whether, as to who is the chairperson of the MPEC, because then we must be able to check as to say the accountability, because part of it might be, you might find that the chairperson of the MPEC is also coming from the same political party where the mayor is coming from. Therefore, the issue of accountability is not going to be smooth, because I can't account to myself, or I can't account at home. I must be able to go and account where I don't report. So I wanted to get that sense as to say, in terms of the MPEG chairperson, who is that honorable person, and whether that person is from the same political party with the mayor. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Chair. Greetings to the mayor and the officials from government spheres, all the three spheres of government, community councillors. I've got a lot of questions, but I don't know if I'm going to get responses, because looking at this presentation, I feel that it does not reflect all the facts that you are looking for. As the chair indicated, we are here because we want to understand the actual state of the municipality, the challenges, the achievement, and the plans to address those achievements, the challenges that you are facing. But looking at the presentation, I don't see something that gives us a hope to say, with these challenges, this is what we are planning to do. I just see a lot of things, but I think maybe we'll be able to get clarity on other matters. Looking at the municipality, it's a grade 2 municipality, which is a collective executive municipality, if I'm not mistaken. And you are having 7 councillors. And you are also having the mayor and the deputy mayor. So I just want to check on your side, what motivates you to have a deputy mayor? And what is the impact of that deputy mayor on your financial state as the municipality? I know legally it's right if you have received an approval from the MEC. But in terms of the state of the municipality on the finance side, how did you come to that conclusion that you need the deputy executive mayor or the deputy mayor? And when you look at your presentation, you also indicated on governance that you have committees that are functioning, of which I believe that if your committees are functioning, it means that your state of finance, your audit should also show that you have a functioning committee. But to my surprise, that you have a disclaimer while you have the MPEC, which is functioning, while you have the audit committee, which is functioning, while you have the disciplinary board. So the question is, if this committee are functioning and then you receive a disclaimer, then what is it that they are functioning on? What have they done? Were they not able to detect some of the challenges before you take your books to the auditors? So I also want to get clarity on that matter. And you also indicated that you've done your appointment as per Municipal Systems Amendment Act, which we amended last year. So which criteria did you use? Did you appoint or advertise for the positions after the act was adopted, after the bill was adopted in Parliament? Or you just decided, oh, those were already on the system, then you turned their contract into permanent position? Can you please give us a criteria as to how did you do it so that it's in line with the new act? Because I know in one municipality, they decided to be proactive, to say all the current directors in 5 years contract must then be converted into a permanent post, and there was a legal issue on that matter. Hence, I want to understand, in your case, how did you implement that act? And on the issue of cost, I want to check with the municipality as to how much is your revenue collection on average in percentage, and how much is your salary base in percentage, so that we can also be able to understand the state of your finances as a municipality, so that we can also be able to determine how much do you have, how much are you taking out as the municipality. That will also be able to give us the relevant state of your municipality. And then on the economic development, on my other life, I was a councillor, MMC for local economic development, spatial planning, and land use management. So on the LED, I'm very passionate about it. I've seen that you are having this program, but I still feel that they are not enough based on the current state of our economy. We need to put more effort. One of the challenges that we've observed in local economic development is that it was used as a dumping site.
When the new politicians comes in the office, they will hire staff. When the new one comes, you just take this one to that department, and it becomes ineffective, and it's not also budgeted for. So in your case, I would like to check if you do have the local economic development plan for the municipality, and if you do have it, what are your key economic drivers in your area, and how are you making sure that you are improving your economy based on those economic drivers? We just came back from the landfill site, of which you have indicated to us that you have 4 landfill sites as a municipality, and 2 were licensed, the other 2 were not. But in the presentation, it shows only 1 that is licensed. So can you please give us clarity on this one? And you've also raised the issue, the challenges of water. I also have a concern because when we're in that landfill site, I realized on the other side, there's something that looks like a water treatment plant, if I'm not mistaken. So how do you have water treatment site next to the landfill site? What are the implications of that if that thing that I saw there is a water treatment site? And Chair, on the issue of water, you know, you've indicated the aging infrastructure and, yeah, aging infrastructure. What measures have you taken to ensure that you deal with this problem? Have you requested assistance from other spheres of government or agencies that we have? Have you applied for funding from the Water and Sanitation or MISA? Or do you have assessment plan as to what needs to happen? Have you drafted a business plan so that we can be able to assist one another? If you have a feasible business plan that indicates that you have this aging infrastructure, and as a result of that aging infrastructure, we're spending this much on repairing this thing each and every month. Therefore, if we can be able to take out all this aging infrastructure and put the new one, we can be able to operate and we can save this much of money. So if we have that business plan, we can also see how do we link you with the National Department of Water and Sanitation or MISA to assist in this regard. Do you have a plan in place, and how long have you been staying with this aging network, and what are your plans as the municipality in order to resolve this problem? Thank you.
Yes, now it's going to be your turn to respond. He wants to ask or to respond? Or you want to ask? Oh, hey, Chairperson, please ask.
Thank you, Chairperson. Yeah, I think that without making sort of opening remarks, I'm just going to ask a few questions as Chairperson, because Kannaland municipality is one of the dysfunctional municipalities in the province for a very long time. And the provincial government and the Department of Local Government and Treasury have on numerous initiatives tried to make a positive intervention to ensure that we bring the municipality to a level where it could be classified as a stable municipality. But as the presentation was sort of highlighting, is the continued political instability that plagued the municipality, and that political instability is largely sort of caused by the public representatives within this municipality that do not distinguish between their particular roles and the separation of functions in terms of that of a public rep and that of the officials. And also the officials becoming very political also, that very to a large extent contribute to the instability. But that aside, I looked at the presentation and the presentation is very thin on detail. it doesn't really speak to the reality that is sort of known to us as a provincial government, as known to us as the provincial Department of Local Government, that is known to us as provincial treasury, and our role is to support all municipalities in the Western Cape. And we anticipate and expect the municipalities to reciprocate our intention to work with us so that we could stabilize the governance and the service delivery issues in the municipalities. So when I look at a note on the agenda stating that organizational organogram is under review, I asked myself, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, this particular organogram was under review. It's something that is constantly under review. It changes every time there is a new sheriff in town. And it is not, you know, explain to us what is under review. What are you reviewing? How is the new proposed organogram going to look like? How is it going to aid in terms of service delivery in executing the mandate? And what costing has been done with this particular organogram, and what's existing organogram? I mean, there's nothing there, and it is nothing forthcoming. And that's a problem because, you know, for a great true municipality, in the mayor's office you have so many people working there. You have a manager of the mayor's office, the speaker's office, you have a plethora of officials working in the speaker's office. But if you drive down the road, you have to duck and dive the potholes. So I mean, I look at the presentation in terms of chairperson, the debt to ESCOM. 2 years ago, that debt to ESCOM was 15 million rand. Today it is 33 million rand. And 2 years ago it was stated, it's your presentation. Your presentation. I have another report here that I can refer to also. So, and the debt, and then we were told that there is a payment plan that has been agreed to with ESCOM. That hasn't, it seems as if it hasn't happened because the debt subsequently increased. And then often what happens, in the chairperson in municipalities, they collect the money from the citizens and residents. They don't pay ESCOM, they use it for operating expenses and for all these other things that are unrelated to service delivery. So, and my colleague here stated about litigation costs that is unknown. Certainly by now you should know, at least give us an idea as to what extent, you know, and what amount have been spent on legal fees to defend cases that the municipality largely lost in the High Court. So we need, you know, honesty in terms of what's the quantum of litigation costs that have been spent. So, because at the end of the day, colleagues, it is not your money. It's hard-earned money of the people of Kannaland. I mean, people going through hard times. And we who are employed are the fortunate ones. There are so many people out there who don't have jobs. And we cannot play lose and fast with their hard-earned money. We need to be accountable to that. And then the landfill site, and I notice here the landfill site is compliant. A year ago, that landfill site was not compliant. It was operating in contravention of the national environmental legislation. And the colleague asked for the certificate. what happened in 1 year that you got the compliance? Because it is not compliant. You know that, and I know that too. But the presentation says that it's compliant. And then further, Chairperson, the audit findings, it's for a number of years and it's recognized for a number of years. It's been sort of not what it, is generally accepted. What measures have you put in place to address those audit findings? Because the latest audit findings are available and known to us, and it hasn't improved. So please share with the committee the measures that you put in place to address the deteriorating audit findings of the municipality. And then furthermore, Chairperson, the municipality's fleet. I mean, what's the status of the municipality's fleet? And there were a number of vehicles that weren't in operation for service delivery. And what is the current status of it? What is the and share that information with the committee. Furthermore, there was concern raised about the levels of and a colleague also raised it in terms of the percentage of the salary bill vis-a-vis capital expenditure and other service delivery costs that need to be considered. And there was a concern raised about overtime and standby fees. Has that been addressed? To what extent has it been addressed? And because that certainly will release, much needed funds to fix or do service delivery intervention. And then, are we operating in a drought environment and a water scarce environment? And you highlighted the challenges you have with water infrastructure, etc. And later in the year, I'm going to call you and all the municipalities in the Western Cape to give us an update in terms of the water infrastructure status and what is being done and the cost that is needed, because we live in a water scarce country. And that is going to be the next challenge that we're going to have to confront after ESCOM, is the collapse of our water infrastructure right here in the Western Cape. And we need to speak to it and we need to address it. To what extent, is the status of your water losses in this municipality? And I looked at a percentage that's been raised there of 63%. Let me just get out of my chair. That's my last question. I know that you certainly want to. The support that you provide, that is provided to you by National Treasury and the Provincial Department of Local Government, what do you think is adequate? Do you think more support needs to be granted to you? And what more can we do as a provincial government and parliament to strengthen this municipality so that you could deliver the services to our people that they deserve? Thank you, Chairperson.
I'm trying to manage the meeting now because there would be load shedding, as indicated. He is the chairperson of the Standing Committee of Cooperative Governance in the Western Cape. As earlier indicated, we are all, start with councillors, MPLs, MPs, we are public representatives. but our primary people are those who are sitting at the back there, others are at home, those who we represent. So they are always free to ask questions, but I think we can maximize use chairperson. Even when we are not here, you must cause them to answer questions. But those that are relevant, because this is a follow-up, we would want to summarize them in such a manner that we are able to say, on this matter, this is our position. And whilst you want, I expect you to respond, but before this electricity goes, Treasury was saying they are going to leave. I think one clear message which cannot be negotiated: you cannot operate a municipality with an unfunded budget. Then a very clear message is saying municipality supported by cooperative governance in the province and treasury. That thing must be stopped and be reversed as to how it means you will sit down and plan. So we don't want to hear this thing. You can't explain it away. So that's one. Number two, disclaimer. That thing is unacceptable when you are handling public funds. Because the implications of this are saying you could not provide required documents for the Auditor General to express an opinion. So we can't negotiate that. So it must come to a stop. How it should come to a stop, you must be supported by the relevant department. But by the way, you must lead that process. So whatever answer that you want to give, those two, because we also want to say, if we say we have got 64 dysfunctional municipalities, and one of them is Kannaland, then you go to Kannaland as the portfolio committee. So that situation must be turned around. If you can't turn it around, you can't govern this municipality. Can't be dysfunctional, deliberate. Worse when you say there's political instability. I think there was a message I got here that we got into this 3 months ago. There was no election 3 months ago. Elections were last year. So hence I'm saying it must be in your interest to remove the issue of instability, because people don't elect government to come and fight. The delivery of basic services is also equally non-negotiable. But there are structures of government that are supposed to support you. I think Honorable Spears here said one responsibility of leadership is to network, to find out where do we get this support that those people are saying. By the way, you promised us something when we were in that campsite, that you will now be specific when we talk here. My last point is on this thing of appointments. The issue of crime and corruption is also not going to be negotiated. Doesn't matter which sphere of government. It's the people of South Africa who do not want crime, who do not want, what is this, corruption. Now you can't explain to us how you appoint people who are being followed by law enforcement agencies, and you want us to discuss that. So no explanation that will be given to say crime. I'm just citing crime. Obviously, there must be crime here, as it is everywhere. Corruption. So we have declared war against those. If people do not meet the requirements in terms of the law, they should not be appointed. If people are discussing with whoever the courts, they are not supposed to be with us here. If we are serious about fighting crime and corruption, even that one, as you respond, we will not want to entertain such explanations. We will not say the court has not decided. If you tell us, then we'll say, when we were in Kannaland, the mayor stood up and said, somebody who got appointed without meeting the requirements, if there's something that says it's a breach of the law, it's the court. We are the law makers. Can't allow that. Somebody who the Hawks followed him and is facing that, he says we'll wait for the outcome of that. No. We are public representatives, councillors, MPLs, MPs, executives, all those who people raise their hands. They can't negotiate that. In other words, we are sending a message here that says when we come, we are told go to Kannaland. It's one of the dysfunctional municipalities. Kannaland will turn around and become a functional municipality, not dysfunctional, for the purpose of servicing the people of this area. So as you respond, because you must respond, questions have been raised here, but I wanted to generalize it and say the following. Madiba once said to us, asking us one by one, say, I don't want excuses. Can you explain to me, why would you allow such a situation where you run a municipality with an unfunded budget, where you allow your municipality to be said it's a disclaimer? No, we can't allow that. In fact, that's why we do oversight. So our coming in here, those few things that I've mentioned, whatever explanation, it must be an explanation, not an excuse. Because we will not accept it. If we don't accept it, by the way, because there's also that tendency to say, what are you going to do? We will do something. I can tell you, when I say we, I mean the three arms of government, we agree on that we'll do something. If people are going to run government institutions like it's their farms, no, we'll do something. You'll run government in terms of what the laws of this country are saying. So we'll do something obvious. Once we get your responses and we are not satisfied with them, make sure that as you respond, because we'll prepare a report, we'll take it to Parliament, we'll talk to the people of South Africa. Debate it, we will disagree in terms of whatever parties that are there, but there will be resolutions of the National Parliament on these matters. We are following dysfunctional municipalities. One of them is Kannaland. And we want Kannaland to turn around, guided by the laws of the country. Anything outside that, no, it will not be accepted. Mayor, you will lead the responses. But if you listen to us, we are saying we don't want these officials to respond to us, especially on issues that talk about them. We want those who are like us, who have been elected by the public, to respond to the issues that have been raised by other public representatives here. Yes, of course, I can't determine who you think is better placed to respond to this kind of question, but what we will not allow, in fact, it's a worse situation. I did experience this some time ago, where you argue with a person who is being alleged to have done this or that. We can't do that. People are supposed to recuse themselves when they know that we are going to discuss issues that affect them directly. And what we could not do is to stop members from raising any question. So we can't be intimidated. I could see it from these members, that they ask questions, but now there are people who are directly affected by this. If we must ask whether the CFO meet the requirements, you can't expect the CFO to respond to that question. If we must ask somebody to say, are you being followed by the hawks? You can't expect that person to respond to that question. We can't be arguing with them. Otherwise, we are changing the whole picture of what is meant by us conducting oversight. So hence I'm saying respond to the issues, guide whoever, don't involve people who we are talking about. Thank you. Over to you.
Meneer de voorzitter, voordat ik antwoord op die relaas wat al die partijen gemaakt hebben, wil ik net eerst antwoord op die MM. Ons heeft die MM aangesteld, die acting MM aangesteld. In oktober, die 21 oktober 2022.
Before I respond to other questions, but I just want to start with the question of the MM that was appointed in October last year.
Ons het meneer Jordaan aangesteld en voor ons was niks wat sê hy is by enige munisipaliteit skuldig bevind.
We appointed Mr. Jordan. Before that, there was nothing that suggested to us that he was found guilty in any other municipality.
Ons het agterna bewus geraak toe die minister vir ons 'n brief stuur waarin hy sê dat meneer Jordan 'n skuldig bevind by 'n ander munisipaliteit, maar hy het nie die munisipaliteit se naam genoem.
We became aware after the MEC wrote to us communication where he suggests that the acting MM was found guilty in another municipality.
In sy brief het hy gesê hy gaan 'n regsmening kry.
In his own communication, he said he was going to get a legal opinion.
Ons het as raad besluit om ook 'n legal opinion te kry.
As a council, we also resolved to also get our own legal opinion.
Die MEC se legal opinion het nooit vorendag gekom nie.
The legal opinion of the MEC till to date was not responded to us.
Ek het 'n brief geskryf aan die MM, die acting MM,
I wrote to the acting MM
en ek het vir hom gevra vir die legal opinion.
Can we finish this one so that we are one in terms of this appointment of Mr. Jordan? The normal procedure when you are appointing a person at that level, I mean the municipality now, without the MEC, one of the things that you should be doing, you should be conducting some check before you appoint. You don't just appoint. There's a process outlined in terms of the law. What you do, you'd even have a checklist when you must appoint a person at that level. So in other words, I'm trying to say, saying we were not aware, it then reflects on your process, even before the MEC comes in. Now, why I'm coming in, because we will not disrupt you as we proceed. I want us to go through, to finish this one and say there are gaps in terms of what the municipality should have done. So it doesn't reflect on the MEC. Now, this issue of opinion, well, it tells us now, as those people who come from Parliament, if the MEC says, I'm going to ask for a legal opinion, then the municipality says, we'll also look for a public, what is this, a legal opinion. It then tells us something there now in terms of the relations. So I just wanted to highlight those so that you must know that it doesn't absolve. You see, as the municipality, as the face of the municipality, responsibility to appoint a municipal manager rests with you. The MEC, it's somebody that, in fact, I think that those regulations of 2011 that were repealed, it is actually what gave municipalities to think that this is our responsibility. If council approves, then nobody can interfere with. So the responsibility is still. So in other words, this question is relevant to say, how do you appoint a person who has been dismissed elsewhere? What happened to that checklist that I'm saying you should be following? So I just wanted to highlight that and then say we are noting this disparity now between province and the municipality. And we are saying it's not healthy for what must be done, but we'll follow up on that as well.
Ja, toen schreef ik een brief voor die acting MM in vraag om ons het gevraagd voor een rechtsmening.
We wrote a letter to the acting MM to suggest that we also went for a legal opinion.
Toen hij dit niet brengt, ik heb een lijst vragen gestuurd voor hem. En toen hij dit niet brengt, toen ga ik naar de raad toe en de raad besluit om zijn contract te beëindigen.
When the acting MM couldn't come with a response on what I've asked him to respond on, I therefore went to the council to take a decision to terminate the contract of the acting MM.
En dat is wat die acting MM betreft. En toen besluit ons
Not Jordan.
Dat was hij geweest.
It was him.
It was Jordan.
Toen ons die inlichting kreeg, toe laat ons omgaan als die raad neem my besluit. En op die stadium het die raad verder gegaan en gesê binnen in die municipaliteit is iemand wat die kwalifikasies en verantwoordelikheid het en hy moet ek in die afwesigheid van acting MM.
We took a further decision to suggest that within the municipality there's a suitable person with the qualification who can take over and act as an MM.
En meneer die voorzitter, die acting is net tot die post van MM gevul word. Ons het geadverteer en die advertentie het Sondag wat voorbij is gesluit.
The acting MM was appointed only up until we appoint an MM, as the advertisement have closed the last Sunday, which is I think the 29th of January.
Nou, meneer die voorzitter, om die raad te draaien. Die eerste is stabiele raad. Die raad is niet dysfunctional. Die raad is glad niet dysfunctional. Iedereen wat het sê, praat niet die waarheid nie. Dit is nie.
Now, Chairperson, to change the council doesn't say that the council is dysfunctional. Anyone who suggests that is therefore not talking the truth.
Okay, u wil aangaan naar die andere acting toe? Ja.
I wanted to say and looking at your staff or whoever and say this one is going to act. The law says that person must meet the requirement. So if anybody says that person does not meet the requirement, I know you would say we choose this one because he is part of us. We'll pay less, we might just have to top this, but the law says that person who acts in any position here must meet the requirement. In other words, I know you are saying on the 29th the advert closed, but I want you, I'm trying to help you when we say our findings with that there was a person appointed as acting MM qualified by this thing that says not meeting the requirements in terms of the law. You must not be surprised, because that's what the law says. I wanted us to close in that way and say, then we can't change that. It is there. The law says that. The post advert closed on the 29th. So 29th was 2 days ago. So it's a fight that must be closed, but closed, I'm saying in this manner. Then we can proceed to the rest.
Ons het vir meneer Barnard aangestel, hy voldoen aan al die vereistes van die wet. As enigiemand sê hy voldoen aan die vereistes, dan moet u hulle vir my voorsien van die wet. Wat sê hy voldoen nie aan die vereistes van die wet.
We appointed Mr. Hendrik Barnard as the acting MM, as we believe that he meets the requirement, and therefore anyone who suggests otherwise should therefore vanish us with that information.
En toe gaan ons om meneer Warbaard as 'n pos te skei dat hy is nou by gemeenskapsdienste.
We therefore appointed Mr. Workbar as Director at Community Service.
Ja, ek kom maar so. En toe het ons die CFO aangestel en hy voldoen ook aan die vereistes. En weer eens is het geval, as iemand vir ons sê hy voldoen nie, dan is daar niks wat ons aan kan doen nie, want die wet sê vir jou, dit is waaraan hy moet voldoen.
We therefore move to appoint Mr. Jerome Poison as our CFO, and again we believe that he meets the requirements. If there's anything that suggests otherwise, we also want to get that information.
Interrupting. You have all the records. So we must not go back and forth. When we ask a question, we expect an answer. And we all have the law that says these are the requirements. So hence I'm saying, when you say anyone who have got a contrary view, that contrary view will not be based on your records. You have them. So you are the one who can say, when I appoint Mr. Boise, he meets the requirements as prescribed by the law. And if you want to help us, you would even say, in terms of my understanding, these are the requirements, he meets them. I think that's how we would wish we must go about with this thing that talks about. You better placed, you have the records. Now, if you say, if there's a contract, because I assume when people ask questions, it is because they have got information. That information might not be accurate because it is not in your records. So hence I'm saying, please help us. When you say so and so, you must not just believe. You must say, he meets the requirements. The requirements are like this, and he meets them.
Ek het in die hele raad, die CV was binne in die vergadering, al die raadslede kon ek kom kyk het, toe ons die tydelike aanstellings maak. En die tydelike aanstellings is omtrent vir 2 maande.
I did in the whole country even forward the CVs that suggest that the incumbents, they reach or they meet the qualification.
Goed, nou wil ek aanbeweeg na belangrike dinge is gesê.
Now I want to move to the important things that we said.
Meneer die chairperson, Ek wil hê almal moet so eerlik met my wees soos ek met hulle is vandag.
Chairperson, I just want everyone to be honest with me, the same as I'm going to be honest with you.
Die feit van die saak, meneer die voorsitter, die ANC en die DA het die raad gegovern vir 7 jaar en ons bestuur die raad vir 3 maande. En wat julle gesê het is, u kan my uitlag, ek waarin u kan my uitlag, want u is een van die oorsake van die probleme, want u is 'n LPJ, en onder dit het die DA hulle al die goed gedoen, meneer. Hulle het al die goed gedoen, die DA het al die goed gedoen. Die voorsitter, luister ek nou moet skok, hy saam met dit, want hulle het vir die 7 jaar niks gedoen nie. Ek het briewe geskryf vir die MEC, vir die nasionale tesourier, het ek briewe geskryf en hulle gewys op dinge wat verkeerd is. Oor die unfunded budget het ek in 2016 ook 'n brief geskryf. 2017 het ek ook 'n brief geskryf na die OG toe. Niemand het my geantwoord nie.
Chairperson, I just want to bring this reality that in the last 7 years, the DA and the ANC were in charge. We only came in 3 months ago, but all these issues are done by the DA. I don't know whether I should repeat now the complaint about the honorable that was laughing. He also complains about that, also suggesting that they are also part of this problem that we are having in Kannaland. Thank you.
Meneer, die voorsitter, u moet onthou, die 7 jaar het hulle bestuur, maar terselfdertyd vir die 7 jaar was die raad onder administrasie vir 7 jaar. Het is eers Oktober, toe ons hof toe gaan, en sê die administrasie is verkeerd, toe die hof besluit, dat is 'n onwettige administrasie.
Chairperson, you must also recall that even the 7 years that I'm referring to, that this council was under administration. It was only in October when we went to court, and then we get the verdict that even this administration was illegal.
Meneer die voorsitter, ek stem saam met die dinge wat julle sê. En die ding vir ons wat belangrik is, ons het die probleem gekry. Nou moet ons werk om die probleem te verander, om Kannaland te verander. Ons wil dit doen. En ons gaan dit doen, ons het al begin om dit te doen.
Chairperson, we want to agree with you on the problems that we have identified. But these are the problems that we also want to solve as we are moving forward.
U moet verstaan, voorsitter, ons of ek wil nie beklei met julle nie, maar ek wil nie staan dat ek net beskuldig word vir dinge wat ek nie gedoen het nie. En dit wat verkeerd is, moet reggemaak word. En as ons dit regmaak, moet ons dit doen volgens die wet. Ons het reeds 'n vergadering met die MEC gehad, om te sê ons wil saamwerk, en ek gaan saamwerk met hulle. Ons moet saamwerk.
Chairperson, I want, or let me put it, we don't want to fight with you, but we also want to correct all the wrongs that have happened. But we have also met with the MEC, where we also said we want to work together with the MEC in taking the municipality forward.
U moet verder vir my verstaan, dat ek is nie iemand wat 'n skuld geheer is nie. Maar ek wil nie hulle moet my attack oor goed wat ek nie gedoen het nie. Ek is 'n werker, elke dag, al is ek 'n raadslid of nie raadslid nie, elke dag kom ek om werk in die gemeenskap, elke dag. Half 7 is ek al by die werk om te werk. En u is reg. Dat werkers wil nie werk nie. Hulle wil chommy met jou wees. Ek wil nie chommy wees nie. Hulle moet ons hulle werk kom doen hierso. En dit is wat ek sterk oor voel.
Chairperson, I want to make this point again that I'm not just a person who remains quiet, but I don't want to be accused of things that I didn't do. But I come every day to make sure that things are happening in this municipality. But I agree with you, there will be those who want to be party, but I'm not a party person.
Meneer die voorsitter, ek was geskok oor die OG se verslag. Ek was baie geskok oor die OG se verslag.
Chairperson, I must also put it to you that I was also shocked by the AG report.
Je moet verstaan, daar was die raad is van 1995 af. Elke slag onder administrasie geplaas, van 95 af. Ek is 29 jaar raadslid, 'n wijksraadslid.
Chairperson, I just want you to note that this council from 1995 was always placed under administration, and I'm 29 years in this council.
Ek is 'n woordkanselaar. Ek weet wat in die munisipaliteit aangaan. Ek weet wat om te doen. Maar ek kan nie wys daarop in hierdie chairperson. Administrasie en herstelplanne vir Kannaland het nog nooit gewerk in die 29 jaar nie. Gaan kyk na die rekords.
Chairperson, I'm a ward councillor. I know this municipality. Administration, recovery plan, they have never worked in this municipality.
Ek gaan nie sê ook hoekom werk dit nie, meneer die voorsitter.
And I'm going to tell you why am I saying to you.
Die mense sit in Kaapstad en skryf 'n verslag oor 'n herstelplan en onder administrasie. Maar die mense hier weet nie van hy plan nie. Hulle verstaan nie Kannaland se omstandighede nie.
Chairperson, people sit in Cape Town and write reports about administration and recovery plan when people of Kannaland don't even understand these issues.
Daarom sê ek vandag vir u, meneer die voorsitter, ek is baie lief vir Kannaland. Is daarom wat ek so hard werk vir Kannaland. Jy kan enige een in die gemeenskap gaan vra. Alles ek die burgemeester, alles ek die burgemeester, ek werk vir Kannaland se mense. En ek kies nie vir wie ek werk nie. Ek werk vir alle politieke partye, vir die DA, die ANC, EFF, ek werk vir almal. In die Kannaland. Al die mense van die parlement, hulle is daar bo. Wanneer ons mense uitgesit word op die plase, wanneer ons mense hulle werk verloor hierso, dan is dit Jeffrey Donson wat moet inkom om te kom help. En ek is net so lief vir Kannaland, en ek glo, ek het net 'n lag gekry vir die een member.
Chairperson, I love Kannaland. As you can even go around and talk to people of Kannaland. When people are evicted in farms, when people are losing their jobs, they come and talk to me, Jeffrey Johnson. I work for the people of Kannaland. You know, he's saying it such that even EFF people in Kannaland, they know that you worked with everyone.
Ek pikkie, want ek wil Kannaland vorentoe neem. En wat ek julle vra, gee ons die geleentheid om Kannaland vorentoe te neem.
I want to ask that you give us the opportunity to take Kannaland forward because we want to work for Kannaland in the benefit of Kannaland people.
Ja, Kyk, as ons al die vrae vooraf gehad het, kon hulle dit geantwoord het. Maar al wat hulle kon antwoord, is wat in die verlede gebeur het. En ek wil hê, die toekoms moet bepaal word. Ons moet gaan na Eskom toe, ons skuld julle dit en onderhandel. Eskom self, se rekening met ons is verkeerd.
Chairperson, I want us to look at the issues that are raised as issues that were raised in the past. But we want now to be realistic and go to Eskom and check whether what Eskom is claiming that is what we are owing. Because me, myself, I don't agree with what Eskom is saying.
Eskom het gekom in 2011 en Eskom het gesê ons skuld 39 of 34 miljoen rand. Toe vra ons, waar kom julle aan die rekening? Toe kan Eskom nie vir ons sê waar in die rekening kom nie. Aan die einde van die dag toe kom ons en Eskom ooreen dat ons 14 miljoen rand moet betaal.
In 2011, Eskom came to us and said we owe between 34 and 39 million. We asked them to bring the account. At the end of the day, we had an agreement with Eskom that we will pay 14 million.
En vandaag skuld ons Eskom die bedrag. Ons gaan nie weg hier, ons gaan ons probleem bestuur.
And today we owe Eskom the amount that was suggested. Again, we're not going to run away. We will sit down with Eskom and pave the way forward.
Chairperson, alles het hier stilgestaan om julle te verduidelik en die verslag of die voorlegging aan julle voor te lê. Ons wil hê iemand van bo af kom, dan kry jy 'n bolling leensie. Ons wil vir julle die waarheid gee wat daar is. Daarom sê ek, neem ons in aanmerking. Consider ons vir die werk wat ons moet doen. Ek gaan die telefoonnommer kry. Wanneer ek hulp nodig het van nasionaal, gaan ek dit vra. Ek het in 2016 'n brief vir die president Jacob Zuma geskryf en gevra dat hulle ons help met 'n dam om ons waterprobleme op te los. Nasionale regering respond om te sê hulle gaan ons help met die dam. Hulle het begin te betaal aan die professionele dienste. Provinsie het toe besluit, hulle gaan nie verder met dit nie. Dis iets wat ons nou weer moet optel.
Chairperson, everything went to a standstill. Up until again, we come because we want to work with everyone. In 2016, we talked to national government. We even wrote a letter to the president, former President Jacob Zuma, asking the assistance with the dam, of which there was a response from national, but the provincial government didn't want to have anything with such a project. Yes.
Ja,
it's a
dit sou gebou word in Ladismith, dan het ons nooit weer waterprobleme nie.
It's a dam that was going to be built in Ladismith, and if such have happened, then the water issues won't be a problem in Kannaland.
Meneer die voorsitter, enige ander vraag, behoort meneer Barnard te antwoord, want dit is administratief. As dienslewering is administratief. As hulle enige probleem moet, enige iets is, moet dit na die raad toe kom. Maar wat ek geleer het in Kannaland, ek vertrou nie wat 'n amptenaar net vir my sê nie. Ek gaan om te gaan kyk. Ek gaan kyk as hulle sê dit is gedoen of dit is nie gedoen nie. Want die aardbare lid is reg. Ons het geld gekry vir projekte. Die geld is nooit gebruik nie. Maar nou kom mense vir my skuld gee. En ons het besluite in die raad geneem om dinge om te draai. Ons wil alles omdraai dat die projek aan die gang kom.
Chairperson, I will want to hand over to Mr. Barnard to take us further with the report. Any other things, because any other things that must be responded to are issues of service delivery. And any other things will then be taken through to council. Thank you. Woman.
Ja, dit is 'n groot concern. Ek het gevra vir die administrasie omdat polities bo is 'n kip as 'n man. En die Kousa is 3 wijkraadslede, ons 4 wijke. 3 van hulle die Kousa gewen. Maar al 3 is mans wat gewen het. Onze vrouens was op die PR-lys geweest. Dus ons sê, wanneer het nou kom by die aanstelling, moet dat daar baie meer gekyk word na vroue. Daarom kyk ons hoe lyk die aansoeke van na vroue, maar die administrasie weet wanneer het kom by die aanstellings, daar moet gekyk word na vroue. En wanneer ons kyk, nie net na vroue nie, hulle moet kyk om 'n verteenwoordigende munisipaliteit te hê wat bestaan uit wit, bruin en swart mense. Uit almal uit moet hy bestaan. En hy moet uit mans en vroue bestaan. Hy moet uit die jeug uit bestaan. Ons het al begin in die jeug.
Chairperson, on the political hierarchy, as I've alluded, that even Cape, it's a male. Because as they have won 3 wards, they are also male. But they've also made the point that within the administration, where there is appointment, not only it should be on the issue of women, but it should be also based on equity. Thank you, Chair.
I hand over to the acting MM. Just a last point. If we have a stable municipality, you have the council is stable now. Ne? Now we only have acting. We only have acting directors. And now we come to appoint the directors. No. I want to end it. Because if you don't end it, there's chaos. Dit kom nou vir jare aan die acting, dit wil ons stop. En dit is waar die municipaliteit deur mekaar maak, die acting.
Chairperson, to continue, I think between the acting MM and myself, we said that you will throw me in the bus, under the bus first, talking on the finance matters. Not really. That was supposed to be a joke. But let me address the questions asked by the panel relating to the finance matters. And please excuse me if I don't capture all of them in order. But there was overarching matters in terms of same questions, same comments. So if I answer it from the first speaker, I would just say that it came up again from somebody else. So let me first of all start with the budget, because from there we can unpack all the other things going forward. Yes, Chairperson, the budget is unfunded. The current budget is unfunded. And the position that myself and the senior management has undertook with Provincial's assistant here is to look at the funding plan. And the funding plan was supposed to be implemented already by my predecessor. It hasn't been implemented. As a result, we're looking at, with the remaining 5 months of the year, how close we can get to this budget being having a funded result. So in there, and I think the panel has asked for more detail. The detail is simple. We will look at enhancing revenue, and realistically, you're going to tell me you're not going to be able to achieve much within a 5-month period, I am not here to disagree with you, because we can only do as much to increase our collection rate. However, through our efforts of debt collection, through our efforts of talking to the stakeholders that have overdue accounts, it is a focus area in the administration at this point in time, where we would have a conservative effort put on collections. And as I said earlier, if we get to an 85% collection, that would be a well and a good achievement, considering our poverty in the community. We are definitely in the process of looking at what our salary budget looks like. And as the executive, in terms of the administrative executive at least, we have already come up with a process. And the process is where the accounting officer is responsible, but the function or the duty sits with me as acting CFO. And also, just for the record, today is my 10th day in this position. Have given me quite a huge exposure as to looking from it from a fresh eye into what is problematic and how we can address it systematically. So the areas to look at on our employee structure is pretty much a scenario of, if we have to put everybody into an interview right now, who of them will ultimately qualify and be competent to perform their duties. That being said as well, we would look at the cost structure and address that through the new organogram process. And the chairperson has alluded to the fact that the organogram has been workshopped 2 years ago. By your own admission, this council has changed so many times since 2 years ago, which is just prudent that you look at what is still critical versus what was critical 2 years ago. And that being said, is not with an eye to add an additional burden onto the salary bill, but rather look at where do we cut in terms of our biggest cost driver on what we consider to be an funded budget. That being said, is we would definitely look at managing our contracts to the extent where we will have a conservative effort, where we will hold our officials accountable for not spending conditional grants. We cannot be entrusted with money from any sphere of government and do not do the necessary to at least spend them. Needless to say, come and ask next year, please give us more, when we have demonstrated our inability to not be able to spend adequately. So that is another example. And part of that is to work with our PMU unit and add to that, where we will have working committees that feeds the council on a regular basis progress on expenditure in terms of all our conditional grants. It has become apparent that time will lapse without proper feedback from our officials into the political structure in terms of why are we not spending money we have been entrusted with. So as a result, the 4 directors here will have weekly meetings going forward in the next 5 months with our PMU units to make sure that we fast track expenditure, one, that we spend it based on the agreed allocations, and come 30th of June that we can properly account for money being given to us. As a result, the municipality has suffered where National Treasury has withheld about 6 million of our equitable share, and this is another matter that we are currently investigating and that we will address accordingly with the relevant people. That will, I will add to that position of getting our budget funded. If we look at where we conservatively will apply cost containment methods, we are relatively comfortable that the forthcoming budget would be a funded budget. Talking about the current budget, our budgeted income is 193 million. Our budgeted expenses, including capital, is 218 million, giving us a budget deficit of 25 million, which talks to the unfunded portion. That is, in essence, just over about 10-15%. That being said, 10 million of that is capital. However, we know capital is grounded, so we obviously need to make sure that we spend it. Giving you percentages in terms of our operational budget, our salary bill is about 36.68% of our operational expenses, and my understanding is the norm is about 35%. In terms of, and I'm going to break it down even further, Chairperson, so we can get a better understanding of the numbers here. In terms of our budgeted income, our salary expenditure, or our bill, is about 41% of our budgeted income. So I think there has been questions to that. If we look at the scenario of our collection rate, which sits at about 79-80%, it definitely will have an impact on our financial position. However, as our expectation is that our income base will drop, and now considering the last few months of load shedding, it is only to be expected that our collections in terms of electricity charges will be lower, considering that people for a number of hours, sometimes up to 6 hours, sometimes up to 8 hours and 10 hours a day, is not consuming electricity, therefore they're not buying any electricity. So it is definitely an expectation that our revenue base is going to drop when our committed expenses is not going to move an inch, because that is already committed to. That was the question that came up by a number of the speakers. In terms of the Eskom agreement, yes, Chairperson, my understanding is, again, the agreement was never signed by the municipality in October. It was meant to be, it was workshopped, it was agreed to in principle, but it was never signed. Why it was never signed, I do not have the answer to the panel. However, since my arrival, I have had numerous interactions with Eskom in terms of the repayment agreement, and the position that we took as administration is, if the expectation is that we do a academic exercise for the sake of signing an agreement, by all means, let's sign it tomorrow, and then next month you'll be upset because we would not be able to make payment. It is only wise and prudent, and it is in line with good governance, that you look at what is your cash flow position allowing you to do realistically, especially if you commit yourself to a repayment over 1 or 2 or 4, 3 financial periods. So currently we are at the advanced stage of having that agreement with Eskom in terms of what is it that Kannaland can afford in terms of its overdue debt. However, the commitment is that whatever our current bill is, we should furnish that irrespective of our engagement or our process of engaging on overdue debt. So we are confident that within this week we would have a understanding from Eskom whether or not they will accept the agreement, and we will then duly sign that. That we will do in conjunction and with the help of Provincial Treasury, as we had a meeting this afternoon on the matter as well. In terms of In terms of, let me then touch on the matter of the audit opinion. Chairperson, without a doubt, as an accountant, it is a disgrace to be confronted with a disclaimer of an opinion. It's even more a disgrace that we haven't had the conservative effort to at least challenge the opinion to an extent where we can prove something at least. Now, being trusted with the position, albeit it be an acting position at this point in time, it is still my responsibility to ensure that I put the necessary controls in place to deal with the historical issues, legacy, whatever you want to call it, and you address it in a manner that puts the municipality in a position to at least look at the next financial period or next audit to be an improvement on the disclaimer. It is a reality though, unless the council take a position and approach the Auditor General to relook at the audit. However, there is a significant cost implication if you approach the Auditor General in a request to audit 2 years as one audit. That will at least put the municipality in a position where we can address the inability by the previous administration to at least conservatively deal with the audit request for information and deal with answering some of the questions. It is my assessment, and I can put it as my assessment, that there is certain systems in place. Why it hasn't been articulated in a way that could have at least circumvented the disclaimer, I'm yet again saying that I do not understand. In terms of that, we already have an audit action plan in which we will address the majority of the damning findings, and speaking directly to expenditure, speaking directly to payroll as a finding, speaking directly to all the other issues that resulted in this. And from an operational perspective, if I can put it simple and bluntly, people are forced, in terms of the Directorate Finance, to take accountability for what they are doing, prospectively for the next 5 months, retrospectively for the last 7 months. That being said, we will make sure that as of today even, we have a month-end close process in finance where certain tick lists have to be ticked, meaning there is compliance with reconciliations has been done, asset verifications has been done. And this will put us in a position where I can say we will deal with the audit action plan in a systematic way to ultimately change the audit outcome in the next financial year. Make no mistake, the disclaimer is unfortunately one of those that once you got it, you need to work yourself out of it in a space of 2 years. You cannot just flip the switch. You need to work yourself out of it 2 years. So next year, most likely huge emphasis on matters, because quite frankly, your opening balances or closing balances for the period, opening balances for this period will be in question, because the Auditor General could not put any reliance on the numbers expressed in your last financial year. That being said, is the dependence, in my view, should not be on me as the head of finance for the municipality. Because if systems are not in place, you create chaos. Now the aim and the drive is that within finance you go back to disciplines, financial disciplines, and you put systems in place that are not dependent on the individual, but that are rather something that you can call institutional. from the perspective of salaries, overtime, standby, all of those will be encompassed in the exercise that the administration will undergo. And by reviewing the organogram, we also will make sure that everybody gets a job description that speaks to his or her functions that we can tie back to performance management, which will then address the element of bonuses being paid and on what basis it would be paid. Yet we're saying we're taking baby steps, but I think in terms of the process, it is rather clear that our intention is definitely to look and address all the issues pertaining to the financial or the audit outcome of this municipality. I think that in terms of the questions that I have noted, I have answered everything pertaining to that. I think there's one that asked about the impact. Where is that question? Okay, so in terms of addressing that, it is my understanding that impact is meeting on a regular basis. In fact, one of the impact meetings was this past week, in which the committee has agreed on the process going forward, on dealing with all the matters that has to be served in front of them. I think the aim is, Chairperson, to at least have 6 meetings within a year, so every second month a meeting, and I stand to be corrected, but I think that was briefly discussed in terms of the impact, the functioning and composition. The last question, which I'm not answering, is, am I qualified? Thank you, Chairperson.
Chairperson, I'm going to ask Mr. Makir to deal with 2 things. The one is the Tierkloof Dam that MP Eleanor asked, and the other one was the, I think, the December issue of the water. So I want him just to quickly respond on that.
Thank you, Chairperson. Yes, in terms of Tierkloof currently supplies our raw water for the Zawa community. Now, Tierkloof has been built like many years ago, but the demand in Zawa is more than what the capacity of Tierkloof is. So what we've done in the past, we have an agreement with Casida, that's currently the managing agent for the Western Cape Department of Agriculture, in place for emergency water. Now, we've spoken to them in December last year, looking at amending the agreement based on what is currently happening. Currently, it seems that there's a process ongoing to transfer the farm back to the community. Now, if we don't have some type of an agreement in place where a certain quota of the water is allocated to the community, that might put the rest of the community in a problem in the future. So that agreement is currently being looked at amending it. So that meeting still needs to be set up, but we did speak to them in December last year. That's in terms of the Tierkloof Dam. Then in terms of the Kannaland water situation, what we've done in December is the MP said, the engineers from the Western Cape government visited us. So we had a few meetings, some discussions. We moved one generator to the Voortrekker pump station, and we bought an additional one that's currently at the water treatment works. So we need 4 generators there, but there's 2 currently. And the other risk that we actually mitigated was we repaired the diesel pump that was supposed to be used at the Kannaland Dam specifically. So in terms of that situation, we've done that. Then still there's other few things that we need to do at the plant itself. So there's 2 reservoirs at the plant. Currently there's only one being used because of a broken valve. So that is in process of being fixed. The supply chain process is ongoing on that one. Then in terms of the capital projects that the MP spoke about, this morning council resolved that now previously our CFO mentioned that we do have some problems. Some of the problems that we do have currently we're looking at is there were some planning problems. So today was supposed to be the last day for the DPIP for 2023-24. But today council resolved to actually have the DPIP for 22-23 approved, which means after that we will be able to, before June this year, the end of June, spend the first phase of the Zawar water treatment works, the Van Wyksdorp water works, and the Van Wyksdorp wastewater treatment works. Then there's two additional projects that was part of the multi-year projects, Ladismith water works and the Ladismith wastewater treatment works. So those will be the 5 projects. Then there's one project in there that we're still waiting for the recommendation from the sector department. But the preliminary discussions is that, as Mr. Barnard, the MM, alluded earlier, is that we got recommendation from Environmental Affairs to actually buy the compactor for the refuse, TLB, as well as a tipper. The plans are to do those over a multi-year, over a 2-year period, to buy the compactor next year. That still needs to go to council, but that's the plans. And the 2 additional equipment or vehicles, the plant there, the tipper and the TLB will be on the outer year. So that's in terms of the capital projects. Let's go over to the other one. Then there was a question in terms of the aging infrastructure from the MP on my left-hand side. Have we applied for funding for the infrastructure there? Currently, what we do is we apply based on highest priority. Because we have a lot of, you can say, if we have to choose between, like in this case, we apply to the WSIG for funding for our deep bowl in Kannaland, that's to open the water in Kannaland, as well as the upgrading of the Ladismith wastewater works, the rest of it. Now, if we have to choose between that, some of our other infrastructure, we have to prioritize it based on which are we going to apply for first. Now, in terms of our infrastructure, part of that is that we need to update our master plans. So we are in discussions because most of our master plans is outdated. So we're busy looking at that, which will then inform the infrastructure that we need to actually replace. In terms of the roads, we had a meeting in December with Kannaland District Municipality. They actually came to introduce the rural dam system. So in terms of the roads, there we are covered to look at in the future, maybe using some of the money to maintain some of the roads that's in the more poor areas. And then what we need to also say is that in terms of the water quality, the province has actually given us, or they've committed to provide us with money to buy blue drop and green drop kits. So those kits will be bought before the end of this financial year, which will actually help us with compliance with SANS 241.
Chairperson, I am trying to see whether we've skipped something, and I've picked up maybe just the landfill site. The gentleman asked us to provide him with a copy. We will do that. I think if it is the same person that we need to respond, I think it's Kasim or something. We will provide it. And somebody mentioned that there's a water purification next to the land for site, unfortunately, that's not the truth. It's a wastewater site that is there. Our water treatment site is that way. So that is maybe just the two questions that I'm thinking of that we haven't responded on. And then the issue of bonuses that was paid in November, I have no idea what this is. So it's the first time I heard about this thing. So we're welcome to investigate it if information can be provided. Chairperson, the other issue is the issue of youth development and local economic development. If with your permission, Chairperson, we will also on that one respond and answer the question of the lady. Thank you, Chairperson.
Meneer die voorsitter, ek wil afsluit en ek wil vir julle sê baie dankie dat julle gekom het. Ja, dit was baie keer hof van julle se kant af na ons toe. Maar ek dink julle die beste belang van Kannaland ook op die hart. Maar ek wil vir julle verseker, ek wil julle baie verseker. Ek was bly julle het gekom. Laat julle ook kan sien die probleme waarmee ons sit. Baie dankie dat julle was.
Chairperson, just in closing, at the beginning I was a bit, yes, nervous also with this mood of fighting, but in a nutshell, I just want to say thank you very much to all of you, and I believe that this was a fruitful exercise. Thank you.
I can pick a sense that you are tired now. You are closing the meeting. Even before we close it, then it shows that we are working. Our work is to do oversight. Oversight is to make sure that the laws that we pass get executed. So that's what so at times I think it's our responsibility to irritate those who are supposed to carry out some of the things that they should do. Why I'm saying I thought I would allow, because you don't just get invited into a meeting, and I know members here would also have loved to make follow-up on some of the issues they raised. But I was reminded, I can still see Treasury is here, and Salka, just to allow them to say something in the provincial department. I also heard there's somebody from National Cocta. Just as we try to wind up, you don't shut them out. Treasury.
Thank you very much, Chair. It seems to be the custom to stand to give these inputs. As you said, very briefly, because I think this is a follow-up and we did comment in the previous session. So to concur with what the CFO has said on the numbers, I think those are broadly correct. I think also that the municipality has given an accurate depiction of the series of previous attempts to intervene, support in various measures. And I think at the last meeting that we had on the 23rd of November, Honourable Spies asked a very pertinent question about whether any plan can work in Kannaland. And I think we've heard the Mayor today express a skepticism about the potential for plans to work. And I think we've heard his analysis that some of that stems from the plans being drafted elsewhere. There have been lots of plans. I think when you look at the plans, a lot of them are very similar. and they say many of the same things that the committee has pointed to today, that you need to get your staff under is your biggest area of expenditure. You need to get that under control. That you need to collect revenue. You need to manage things efficiently. You need to resolve basic service delivery problems. You need to address the management problems in the municipality. None of this is rocket science for the municipality. That's why the plans are so similar. I don't think that it's a question of there being a perfect plan. You know, we could go into a lot of detail about what could be in plans, but I don't think that is what's going to, I don't think that's going to be the best use of the committee's time. I think the question is really about the willingness to implement, and I think the committee has been asking exactly the right questions in that regard. I would also say, you know, driving to Kannaland yesterday for this visit, it struck me the value of you coming here in person and not just doing this online, right? Because Honourable Speaker's question was, can a plan work? And I think when you're standing here, you can assess for yourself the potential of Kannaland, right? The natural beauty, the farms that you drive past, the potential that is there. I don't know which road the members travelled to get here, right? But for me, coming from the Cape Town side, on that road from Barrydale, I mean, firstly, it's very nice to not have the roadworks there anymore. But, you know, the investment that the province has made in resurfacing and upgrading that road so that this town is well connected to the rest of the regional economy here. You know, the potential, and when you drive through Barrydale and you see the prosperity in the tourism industry that's there, and then you see just less of that when you come here, and there's no reason that it should be that way, right? That road, the R62 tourist network, it's a highway to the future for Kannaland. When you drive into town and you see Ladismith Cheese Factory on the one side and the Parmalat Cheese Factory on the other side, I mean, you're members of a national committee. You travel to many other small towns across this country that would kill for opportunities like factories like that. Kannaland has those opportunities. The industry in Karlitsdorp, it also has a lot of poverty. I don't want to take that away. There are very tight challenges here. There is not wealth that can be squandered or wasted in Kannaland, but there are opportunities, there is revenue, there is potential, and it is entirely possible to raise enough revenue together with the equitable share transfers and the support that the municipality receives to be able to run a modest and efficient municipality that delivers for its citizens, that collects revenue, that can pay its creditors. That is entirely a doable thing. We have presented plans in the past that would achieve that. We can do that again as long as we have, and I was encouraged by my meeting earlier with the officials in the municipality, as long as we have that commitment, I think we can do that. Thank you, Chair.
Chairperson, thank you very much. Chairperson, SALGA was established under Chapter 7, Section 163 of the Constitution. And the mandate of SALGA is to lobby, advocate on behalf of municipalities, and to represent municipalities. I've listened here today, Chairperson, and we made an effort as SALGA to say, listen, during this term, we as the political leadership of SALGA would come out, get first-hand information, what is happening and how we can assist, lobby, those support if need be, speak to the political leadership of the municipalities and how to address certain issues if need be. During the past term, and as was presented during November by the SALGA officials, as I understood, they did present on all the efforts and engagements they had with the municipality. And I can only say, Chairperson, that we are open to assist this municipality. And we are grateful, obviously, for your committee who are present here today. But we intend to have a further engagement with the political leadership later this month, if God's willing. So from our side, thank you very much. We will obviously have that engagement and we will come back to you. I also have the chairperson with me of the portfolio intergovernmental relations. And the reason why we brought him with is to unlock those doors which the municipalities have difficulties with. Those intergovernmental resources which is available, so that he knows which doors to knock on. But if you, with your indulgence, Chairperson, I would like him to have a word or two if you allow me to. Thank you.
Well, thanks to the SALGA chairperson. It's not protocol for me to speak after my chairperson, but I'm grateful for the opportunity. And let me say to the committee that to date, there has been multiple interventions from SALGA to assist Kannaland around municipal audit support. And as members of the committee said, that if our internal auditing process can function, we are able to influence a better outcome when the Auditor General releases a report. So that has been made available to the municipality. There's been multiple work done over the last period from institutional capacity around the bargaining council and matters raised in that regard. And moving forward, we've taken resolutions that it cannot only take place in the technocrat space, it must take place in the political leadership space. Because ultimately, trickle-down leadership is what we need in local government. If we have a strong political leadership, we can then influence positive results in the administration. And so that's, as my chairperson alluded to, will be happening in the coming month. But I would like to make a final note to the portfolio committee and to the municipality that no matter what SALGA does, or no matter what we put forward, it only works if you take it. It only works if you implement it, and it only works if you want it to work. And that's the philosophy we've taken at governance and intergovernmental relations, that we're here to be the representative voice of all 30 municipalities in the Western Cape, but we are not the 31st municipality. We are representative of organized local government, and we are here to provide if you're willing to receive it. Further than that, I think accountability is the next step across the board amongst anyone. And consequential accountability is what I want to emphasize to the Portfolio Committee on COCTA, because I think it's becoming a frustration to officials and a frustration to politicians, but it's not bigger than the frustration to the community, the situation that we're facing over the last decade, in particular in Kannaland. Thank you very much.
I've taken your right. Oh, okay.
Chairperson, thank you. Grant Castle from the Provincial Department of Local Government. Just two questions that we'd like to follow up on that touched on our mandate and some of the issues that the Mayor and some of the municipal officials have raised. The first being the legal opinion that was solicited on the appointment of the former acting municipal manager, Mr. Keith Jordan. The Mayor and the officials are correct that indeed Provincial Department of Local Government did undertake to solicit a legal opinion on this, which was done. We, unfortunately, working through the State Attorney, ran into some issues. The State Attorney had to procure the services of a senior counsel and had to undergo a procurement process which took some time, which led to delays in the appointment of the senior counsel to provide the opinion. The opinion was ultimately provided as late as last week, and it is my understanding that the Minister will be providing this opinion to the Executive Mayor and the officials in the municipality to action some of the outcomes and the findings that were made on Mr. Jordan's appointment. And then to the second issue around, I believe, the appointment of the Acting Director for Technical and Community Services. My understanding is that the Provincial Minister addressed correspondence to the municipality advising that the Minister was not of the view that this was an appointment that was permissible in terms of what was allowed under the municipal staff regulations and the other legislation governing the appointment. However, our Minister is also soliciting another legal opinion on this to provide a firmer view on this, and it will be provided to the municipality to action. And then just as a final matter, in the spirit of the oversight that was conducted today, what I can confirm is that the Provincial Development of Local Government remains committed to supporting the municipality as it has been doing through its interventions in the municipality and through its general support offered in terms of the Constitution. And we will continue to work with the municipality to provide that assistance to assist the municipality with governance, finances, and their service delivery. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Chairperson. Thank you, honorable members from National Parliament and the councillors and colleagues and Salga political leadership. I'm coming from the Department of Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs. I'm here together with Misa, a colleague. So it's only the two of us from COCTA. Other colleagues who were seconded could not come due to other issues. For example, in the Eastern Cape, they had to go to Enoch Mkijima. There were issues there. And then also there are issues of strategic planning that are taking place in the department to prepare for the next financial year. So, Chairperson, thanks for the opportunity. I must indicate that I did follow the processes as from the visit as we went to the landfill sites, and I did have a feel as to issues that I witnessed in reports that we received from the province as far as infrastructure projects are concerned, the political issues, issues of governance and administration, how political issues affect the administration, financial management, viability issues, service delivery, and LED issues. And I also noted the comments by honorable members, especially the chair. You kept on stating the purpose of the portfolio committee, where you have to, where your purpose is merely to ensure that laws that are made by Parliament that applies to local government gets implemented. So that it is very educational, Chairperson, as you kept on repeating it. As a national department, we'll continue to work with the provincial government, which is actually a very hands-on province. In terms of my experience, having worked with the province, they are very hands-on on municipalities. Although there and there will be other municipalities that will be saying the province is slow in assisting us, but many municipalities as well will say they are receiving support from the municipalities. All issues, as I said, are noted, Chairperson, and then what I know is the province is working on maybe they should also respond on it, Chairperson, the Section 154 support plan, which is an outcome of a diagnostic report, diagnostic assessment that they conducted in the municipality, just to tell us the status about it as to where it is, because it's very critical in terms of the issues that we are here for, in order to wind them up, to know when the support that we as the three spheres we're going to give to the municipality to ensure that it's able to implement this program, especially on the issues of financial viability, so that the municipality is able to do many things and indeed be supported to have a funded budget maybe in the next financial year. Thank you, Chairperson.
I'm taking over now. So even if I wouldn't want him to come back from the province. The normal approach of the portfolio committee is to allow members to have a follow-up but I was consulting them. I'm receiving mixed signals, but because that's the normal procedure we do. There might be some gaps. How he was cutting us is when we had a vote of the But let me allow you members, I've seen the end of Honorable Space, Honorable Mkalipi. Okay. You will also say something. Honorable Space.
Thank you, Chairperson. Can I sit down? Yes, thank you, Chair. Chair, just two questions to the Mayor and to the Speaker. And I think there's no need to go back and write to us. The Speaker, through you, Chair, must just answer me. For a grade 2 municipality, 4 wards, does he have 3 staff members in his office working for him? And what is it that those 3 staff members, what are their designated jobs? And I'm asking this with the background coming from a much greater municipality, having been a mayor and a speaker, having one person in your office. And that is what, in an office. So I need to understand. You say that you're struggling. Is that the case? I've asked it last time to the mayor. Mayor, you've rightfully said you have been a mayor for 29 years. And you keep on telling us for 3 months you're a mayor. Tell us in the 29 years that you've been a councillor, how many years of those 29 years were you the mayor of this particular municipality? Because the members don't have the privilege of that information, but some of us do, and you do not tell them that. You act as if you're only the mayor now. You've been the mayor for many times, but you can tell us how many times you've been the mayor of this particular town. The political question of coalitions, I will not go in. There's councillors who knows what is wrong and what is correct and what is not correct. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Chair. Under cost containment measures, I asked a question because it was reflecting on your menu. I'm saying under cost containment measures, it was under your slides here. Councillors' litigation cost, I was not answered because I wanted to understand, and then you said you are still going to investigate. So what does that mean? Because it involves councillors. Which councillors are those? I want to know that one. I'm not answered, Mayor. And I think we must appreciate, as the person from Treasury is saying, that we have taken our time to come here and engage with you. And I'm very happy that you are taking it in a positive way. When we ask questions, we are asking on behalf of the residents here, not because we want to punish you, but we are also helping you to prepare you to be a very good leadership who must lead in the municipality with transparency. You know, if anyone is asking you any type of question, you must be able to say, this is the answer. All answers must be in your fingertips. You must not take it personal. But I was very happy because you also commented to that and you understand our role as a portfolio committee, why we are here. So if you are not going to answer straight, you are going to get discouraged. And when we get discouraged at this level, it means we are failing people of South Africa out there, because we have to do this exercise in order for you to become a better municipality, not because we want to punish you. The issue of the 2 MMs, can you just come clean? And I'm very happy because the chairperson also intervened and clarified you in terms of the processes with the municipality that were supposed to be taken when you were appointing that MM who was found guilty of misconduct somewhere else. You can't be telling us that you didn't know. So you are painting another picture as a political head here. But my question is that, how come that after that scenario of that MM, in terms of the law, he was not supposed to get appointment in any municipality within 10 years. You went and appoint an MM who is under investigation. You are not telling us straight. And the chair was correct to say, he can't be expected to answer us. You supposed to answer us with what happened. And the direct question that I have asked you is to say, what consequence management after that? Because there must be a consequence management. It can't be, because we don't want to believe this gossip that there's nepotism here, there's this, there's chomi, as you put it. In order for us not to believe those things, you must come clean and say, I'm firm in this position because I want to protect my citizens of Kannaland. So that's what we want from you. Not from you, but from your team. Speaker can also answer that, because Speaker is the one that is expected to protect the municipality by the law. The Deputy Mayor, he looks like Terra Legota, but he's there to protect the municipality here. Please also assist to answer this question, Deputy Mayor. Maybe you are related to Terra Legota. I was looking at you. Why do you look like Terra Legota? That is a slightly joke. On the ESCOM CFO, I'm not hearing you. What are you saying? You said there was no agreement that was signed between you and ESCOM because you didn't want to raise expectation or something. But please tell us the plan now, because we are in this situation. I have also mentioned before that it's not only this municipality, but the whole country is having those challenges of ESCOM. But how are you going to plan to pay the ESCOM debt? Because it's a problem. So those are my two questions that were not answered. Please, Mayor, address the issue of equity. And it's not me who's asking here, even the people here. Even though there's no EFF in the municipality, but as we are also alluding to the fact that even EFF works with you, they also sent me in WhatsApp here to say, no, there is no equity, and I'm glad that you also said by yourself as well, the equity, it can't be that only few women in your management. You must empower women. And it's against the law, Labor Relations Act. It also compels you to have a balanced staff component in your office in this municipality. Apart from the chair, I think we are fine. But I want to encourage you to work ethically, and also, if you address issues that are also of administrative issues, you have to bear in mind that people who voted for you here, they are expecting a lot from you, especially the rate of unemployment is too high in the country. I try to ask, what policy are you trying to formulate? There's no clear answer, but you know better. You can't be happy as a mayor to say, I'm the mayor, I'm the deputy mayor, I'm the speaker. You must look beautiful here while your people who voted for you are swimming in poverty. You must come with a plan, a clear plan, how to deal with unemployment, of which it can also be taken to you as an achievement. Thank you very much, Chair.
Thank you very much. It's not really the new question, but it's around the impact question, and I'll come back to this question because for me, it's one of the measures that is normally put in place in order to make sure that it prevents some of these things from happening, and it is able to detect some of these things from happening in the near future. So all I want to know is who is the chairperson of the impact, whether that person comes from an opposition or not. That's all I want to know. And then we'll then deal with the nitty-gritties of whether the impact is functional or not functional. But I just want to understand this so that we're able to see whether it was properly constituted in terms of the Municipal Systems Act. Thank you.
Any responses now must be towards winding up, because in other words, I'm appealing to those who will respond. They must be direct, because these are follow-up questions. I don't know who is going to direct it, Mayor. Okay.
Dankie achtbare voorzitter. Deur u na achtbare Bouspies, die vraag rakende my personeel in my kantoor. Chairperson, dit is van kardinale belang dat jy support staff het. As ons hier kan vandag sien, het u as 'n komitee ook support staff. Die nuwe regulasies is baie duidelik ook oor hoeveel personeel 'n speaker en 'n burgemeester onderskeidelik in hulle kantore kan hê. En ek fokus net op wat die regulasies sê, eerbare lid. En ek het ook ewen voortgegaan om nie die voorgestelde soos die staff regulations sê wat se political structures en wat die amptenare met die posbenamings wat in die spesifieke amptenaarskantore aangestel moet word, het ek as speaker ewen besluit om nie al my poste te vul nie. Maar ek dink is baie verkeerd van u om te verwag van my om nie support staff te hê nie, want hulle het. Ek mag support staff hê, ek het support staff. Ek het 'n PA in my kantoor, ek het 'n kantoorbestuurder in my kantoor en ek het 'n drywer. So daar is die direkte antwoord vir u en ek hoop dat dit stel u tevrede. Dankie.
Chairperson, you've got it. No, in short, Chairperson, what the speaker is saying is that he is also by law afforded to have support staff in his office. Then in short, you've got a PA, you've got a manager, and then you've got a driver. Those are the three people that he's got in his office. And he also quoted the staff regulation into that. Thank you.
Hierdie dinge gaan my nou al aflos. Meneer die voorsitter, ek skryf hierdie wet nie, julle skryf die wet. En al die aanstellings is binne die wetlike raamwerk. As julle dan dink ons is verkeerd, gee dan die wet wat sê dit moenie so wees nie.
Chairperson, you wrote the laws. We believe that we have appointed people based to the law. If we didn't do such, then you must give the law to us or explain the law. Thank you.
Ek wil byvoeg, meneer die speaker. En dit is vir my so snaaks. En ek bedoel ook maar net soos dit is. Die DA en die ANC dieselfde mense in hulle kantore gehad. En die arbare LP is die LP van die gebied van die DA en sy kon dit daar al reeds gesien het en dis nooit daar gestop nie. Dis nooit gestop daar nie, maar nou kom dit hier asof ons misdadigers is, gewoonte misdadigers. Ek hoor wat hy gesê het en dit is nie die waarheid nie.
Chairperson, it's funny to me that before our time, the DA had such practices. It is very funny now that it's only us now who are referred to as if we are habitual criminals.
Nee, maar dit is die manier hoe die vraag gestel word. Hulle vra vir my vraag, waarvan u die antwoorde ken. U ken die antwoord, u is aan die LP van die gebied. U het in die gebied gewerk, u werk nou nog in die gebied. Meneer die voorsitter, my probleem is dat die raadslid was aan betrokke met dit.
Can I take charge? Because I have not heard what he was saying, so that I can rule on
Chairperson,
something that I understood.
In short, the mayor was saying the MP of this area, if I've heard correct, was here even before. Why he never asked these questions of this support staff? Because even the DA and ANC were enjoying the same support staff. Why is it only raised now? I think this is where the heated debate started.
I wanted to rule on what I was hearing, but I thought now, with your interpretation, what the mayor is saying is not different from what the speaker was saying. So the issue, I think we have identified it as a committee, the issue of staffing in the political offices. So it doesn't require us to say this is how you should do it or whatever. We'll look at the law, we'll look at and advise the municipality of whatever finding that we'll have. But I think also it is also on the tone, because we're just looking, we don't know what because of the language. And we can pick this sense that says, the message itself is clear. The questions from the members here is about staffing in the political offices and what guides that. You have responded, we'll look at it and we'll have our own finding. So we don't necessarily have to fight up. Let's continue with the responses to the questions.
Chair, I want to answer on the impact aspect. About the impact, it belongs to the governing parties. It is all along a practice here, and law is not clear on that. Law only tells us that such a person that is the chairperson of impact would not be part of the executive committee, and that's it.
Chairperson, maybe I must just put this thing a little bit more clear. MPEC is 3 members: ANC, DA, ICOSA. The chairperson role is ICOSA. So it's not a matter of this MP, the MPEC only consists of the governing party that's trying to squash things that come on. There's 3 different parties on that one. The other 2 questions, Chairperson, the issue with ESCOM, and I think the CEO, CFO can quickly respond on that. We had a meeting with Stephen 12:30, I think, and we had a very productive meeting. The CFO made certain calculations as to what we can afford, We are supposed to come back to Trudy Boyson, who is the manager of ESCOM dealing with the specific arrangements. We will come back to her. We need to come back to her in 2 days, but we've scheduled a meeting, and Stephen in the provincial treasury has indicated they want to help us on that one. So on Monday, he will have a further discussion with the CFO regarding how to deal with the issue of ESCOM. But we are committed to deal with it. It hasn't been dealt with properly in the past, but we are in the process of dealing with that thing specifically. The issue of the litigation, Chairperson, this is a matter that is currently in front of MPEC, and I'm going to answer your question, but I need to be careful that I don't compromise the other members. This litigation has come from councillors that has taken the municipality to court. It has also come from the municipality that has taken certain other people to court. One thing that has happened, and that is why it is with the cost containment. One of the things that the council have done is that they stopped all the mandates to the different legal practitioners, and now we need to deal with what is there. It was supposed to be investigated by Mr. Jordan. It still isn't finalized yet, so that's why you'll see it there as to be investigated. It is something that we're looking at, and unfortunately, it's a little bit difficult because we have only been here up until 12th of January, but we're trying to deal with things that is there in the best way that we can. So that's why we see that as still need to be investigated. But the council has already stopped their mandates, so the lawyers is not supposed to incur more costs. That's something that is there. But we still need to, because certain cases we still need to try to understand, try to ascertain the amount that we deal with. I hope I answer you. Yeah, the other one is about myself, so I'm not going to respond.
Chairperson, just in terms of the ESCOM situation, has it been answered, or should I go into it in detail? Okay.
Now, so we have been moving closer to closing, but it looks like we'll ever continue to have questions about Kannaland. I heard the mayor say, though he was speaking in Afrikaans, saying we are not dysfunctional. And so it is us who are saying they are dysfunctional. I think let's agree the assessment of the National Department of Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs plus the provincial cooperative governance in the province. My assumption is that now we are tasking those, because we are the portfolio committee. There are people who have got executive powers who, in terms of the constitution, are supposed to support municipalities. So if we identify a municipality to say it is functional, so what COCTA nationally was suggesting is now an instruction from the portfolio committee to say develop, in terms of section 154, a support program for Kannaland. And you will not wait for us. It's your duty to execute. So it's the provincial government, cooperative governance and treasury, supported by National Treasury and National Cocta, SALGA included, develop a support program and implement it. By the way, Mayor, the person who we should be asking difficult questions on about Kannaland is the Minister of Cooperative Governance. But we also allowed by the law to go to the province, ask them difficult questions about Kannaland. Come to Kannaland, ask difficult questions, because tomorrow we'll be interacting with the community or stakeholders from here. It's those people that we represent. So they are going to walk here on their feet, ask questions from all of us. And my plea is that we must be ready to respond. In one municipality, the mayor apologized on the second day when we call our principals, which are the stakeholders. So we will not accept any apology for engagement with stakeholders, because we don't want to misrepresent anybody. By the way, you said you love them and you love Kannaland. We highly appreciate that, because that's what is lacking in some of us who are working for the people, is that love. Because if we love them, we can't disappoint them. So that's one comment I wanted to make, coming closer to ending this. So Section 154 must be implemented. The turnaround of this use of this term, dysfunctional, you are the ones who must walk away from that. And you must get that support. My last point, there seems, whilst I hear the mayor saying he welcomes support, but he mentioned something here where he says there seems to be communication, technically, possible through lawyers or legal opinions and all of those. It indicates something. It says plans are drafted in Cape Town. I don't know who also said these plans look the same. It might mean that it's something that is just pricked out of the computer. It doesn't relate to the environment here, which we must address. That must be addressed. There must be no gap, because provincial government, national government is supposed to provide support to municipalities. So in other words, let's not, in fact, this thing of you go look for an advice from legal people in your province, the municipality does the same, it indicates something. We are one government. And I know that there are some people who can disagree with me. But we have got one country. And that country is called South Africa. I've said we have one citizenship. And that citizenship is the people of South Africa. We have got rights. And they are prepared to defend those rights through us as their public representative. So I hope this session now will not cause us to come back to Kannaland. We'll go to Parliament, we'll process our report. If there are any outstanding issues that you have said submit, please submit them within 14 days. And once submitted, we'll constitute a report it will be tabled in Parliament. A portfolio committee is just an extension of Parliament. So we will table that report, and the people of Kannaland will be watching. I'm told there's going to be some change now, this parliamentary channel. It will be open to almost everybody. So we don't want to misrepresent you when we talk about that. By the way, we are trying, thank you very much for this session. I have come to the end of it. What time are we starting tomorrow? 9:30. Come and make announcements.
The stakeholder engagement will start at 9:30 at the Maxis Hall in Zawar tomorrow morning.
We are meeting stakeholders at Zawar tomorrow at 9:30. No apologies.
Chairperson, can I make apology? Lyk my jy het verlief geraak op my. Seems to me you fall in love with me. No, I will be there. No. Nee, in Afrikaans druk ek my beter uit. I can express myself better in Afrikaans. That's why, because you ask questions, and I must think about the questions you ask.
Mayor, once the chairperson declares the meeting closed, the meeting is closed.